championship game, proving that this team can stand toe-to-toe with anyone in the land. The awesome 1-2 punch of quarterback El Roberson and explosive running back Darren Sproles tore through the country's most dominating defense, claiming their first conference title in 70 years. But tonight, the Cats may be without their leader in their quest to repeat the Big 12 magic. Now, K-State will have to refocus quickly as the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes stand in their way. The Buckeyes return to the scene of last year's thrilling national championship victory with a roster filled with big game experience. Quarterback Craig Krenzel has made a career of game-deciding plays, leading the champs through a season of closely contested games. A match of wills to be played out in the nighttime desert air as Kansas State's finesse ground attack meets Ohio State's defensive brawn. The Fiesta Bowl coming up next on ABC Sports. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. A capacity crowd has continued its New Year's celebration for 2 days here in the Valley. And now they're ready for some football. For the first time ever, it's Ohio State and Kansas State. The dynamics of this game have certainly changed since yesterday morning when a woman filed a complaint and accused El Roberson, the quarterback of Kansas State, of sexual assault. There have been no charges filed. His playing status for tonight, well, we're unsure. But Sam Ryan will talk with head coach Bill Snyder momentarily in the pregame, just before kick. What we do know is Kansas State is one of the hottest teams in the nation, having won 7 in a row, including that big win over Oklahoma. Ohio State, the defending national champion, once again in the hunt until the final weekend when they lost to Michigan. So it's a great, intriguing matchup between Ohio State and Kansas State. A lot to talk about. But first, let's go to New Orleans and John Saunders. John?
Sam, thanks a lot. Welcome to the Built for Tough pregame report from here in the Big Easy, where it will be anything but easy to walk away with the national championship. The BCS champion will be crowned here on Sunday in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. John Saunders alongside of Terry Bell. We should point out Craig James normally over there. Well, he has a bout with food poisoning. He hopes to join us at halftime, as well as the coaches who will coach on Sunday. But how lucky have we been? We start things off in the Rose Bowl yesterday. We see USC beat Michigan and stake a claim to a split national championship.
And then last night, a classic matchup between Florida State and Miami in the FedEx Orange Bowl. How do you have to take it? Another missed field goal by Florida State, another win by Miami. And then on Sunday, the Nokia Sugar Bowl. You win championships with defense. These teams have the 2 best defense in the league. One of them walks away with the ADT National Championship trophy.
It promises to be a great game. And also, teams that play on Sunday are playing on Saturday this week, as we have Wild Card Saturday, the traditional one we have on ABC with the AFC and NFC. More on that a little bit later on. Now, first, we have to talk about the Fiesta Bowl, because El Roberson and the complaint against him, how does that affect the team?
Oh, man, it affects it a lot. It's Kansas State's defense, that offense, that's the key to this game. They've got a better offense. If El Roberson doesn't play, it evens out the game. It becomes a toss-up, maybe in Ohio State's favor.
All right, the Ohio State Buckeyes playing where they won the national championship. Let's check a couple of other games. One done, one still underway. We'll start off with the Cotton Bowl. Last game for Eli Manning, perhaps, or well, definitely. He's going to be the #1 draft pick. 25 yards to Mike Espy here.
I tell you, he's been a difference for this program. But those plays come about because they have a running game this year. With that running game, you give a Manning play-action passes, he's going to lead you to victory.
Your dad couldn't get the job done, but how about your brother Tommy going up against Tennessee? And Kyle Brown, a trick play here.
Well, he's an underdog. When you're an underdog in a bowl game, you got 3 weeks, put in some trickery, find a way to get ahead. He's gotten ahead this week.
All right, we will see at halftime. Up next, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Here comes Kansas State with a record of 11-3. The Big 12 champions making their first ever appearance in a BCS bowl game. For more on the El Roberson situation, let's go down to Sam Ryan, who's with Kansas State head coach Bill Snyder. Sam?
Well, Coach Snyder, we saw El Roberson out there for warm-ups. Will he start tonight?
He will.
He is your starting quarterback for tonight's game.
That's correct.
How do you prevent these allegations from becoming a distraction and keep this team focused on the game at hand?
Well, I don't know whether we have or not. You know, it's been very difficult for all of us, quite obviously. You know, but I think the easy or the direction that we have taken is that, we all believe that they are not just allegations, and consequently that makes it a little bit easier to fathom. But it's still been a distraction. There's no doubt about that. And how we handle it remains to be seen.
Bill Snyder, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, Sam, thank you very much. So there's the surprise, because there's been so much rumor and innuendo all through Tempe and all across the nation for the last couple of days. What does this do to Kansas State?
Well, you got to think it lifts her spirits, because they had to have heard some of those rumors about, was he going to play, was he not going to play? And you want to have L. Roberson out there if you're a fan of this game. Kansas State has absolutely the best quarterback running combination in the country, bar none. Roberson, a dynamic guy, over 2,000 yards passing, 900 yards rushing on the season, had an unbelievable game, 63-yard touchdown pass against Oklahoma. And Darren Sproles, he's a whirling dervish of a running back. He will make people miss in the backfield if they get back there and go the distance. Had an amazing game against Oklahoma as well. Both guys setting records against what was the best defense in the country. That defense got treated like a rental car at Arrowhead Stadium by these two players.
And here come the Buckeyes of Ohio State, the defending national champions. They come into Sun Devil Stadium again in the hunt until the loss to Michigan. And they're talking about having a lot to prove here tonight. They weren't happy with the way they played against Michigan. Defensively, I don't think they had to be worried about who plays the quarterback for Kansas State.
Well, it's same for them. Mark D'Antonio, their defensive coordinator, he was going to call the same game regardless. And you mentioned that Michigan game. The motto has been, let's get that bad taste out of our mouth, because they played horribly against the Wolverines. And the guys who will get it done, A.J. Hawk is such a spectacular sophomore linebacker. First team All Big Ten. He will be tested sideline to sideline, but he truly has the speed to chase around Roberson and Sproles. But the guy who really is the heart and soul of not only the defense of Ohio State, but the entire team is Will Smith. Early in bowl practices, guys weren't focused. He went around, grabbed some face masks, and got them excited for this game.
This should be fun. Everybody's playing. No changes. Big 12 versus the Big 10. Ohio State and Kansas State. The kickoff is next. A perfectly clear 70-degree day has given way to a gorgeous evening in the Valley. Ohio State won the toss, deferred. Kansas State will receive the opening kickoff. And there's a look at L. Roberson, who will start this football game. Despite all the distractions, despite the accusations, despite the filed complaint, he will start tonight. There's Mike Nugent, one of the best place kickers in college football for Ohio State. And he'll be kicking to one of the mighty little ones, 5'7", Darren Sproles. And you see what he's done for the year. Folks, he is versatile. He is small, but extremely quick. We're underway in Tempe. This will be Sproles at the 5. Sproles spins past one and bangs his way out to the 25-yard line. So Kansas State goes on offense, and we'll get our first look at their quarterback. Bill Snyder said L. Roberson will start. We assume he will go the distance. Let's meet him in his own words.
L. Roberson III, Robert E. Lee High School in Baytown, Texas. I've thrown for over 2,000 yards and rushed for over 900.
He's 6'4". He is really talented. 6'1", 205. Here's the give to Sproles off the right side. Breaks the tackle and gains about 3.5 yards. The Tostitos starting lineups, backs and receivers, all eyes will be firmly focused on Darren Sproles all night. Kansas State has averaged almost 300 yards a game during the swing streak. James Terry is the big-time receiver. The Wildcats' offensive line is really good. Not big, but probably the best in the country at combo blocks. Nick Leckie is the best player. He's their center. 2nd down and 7. Option. Sproles. Not much. Ohio State is swarming. Ohio State does have that swarming speed-type defense. It ranks first in the nation against the run. Spotlight number 93, Will Smith, a senior co-captain there on the right, who is the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. At linebacker, Bobby Carpenter gets the start in there, along with Reynolds. A.J. Hawk is the leading tackler. In the secondary, Fox and Gamble are excellent cover guys. Sally and Allen, big play safeties.
some point, Sproles is going to want to go over the top. James Terry, a guy that has been a big play guy, averaging nearly 20 yards a catch. He will try to get behind Gamble, who sometimes takes some risks and plays the underneath stuff a little too heavy.
3rd down and 5. Roberson looks at the defense, changes things, goes to the gun. He's very mobile. Almost picked off.
That's my guy.
A.J. Hawk. You talk about a perfect name for a linebacker.
And he's the underneath coverage on that throw. This guy, I don't even know if he understands how good he can be. He's playing behind a great defensive line. He says the one thing he wants to work on is getting off blocks a little quicker, because next year he won't have Anderson and Scott in front of him. But A.J. Hawk is awfully good.
There's Michael Jenkins. You talk about good. Extremely versatile, very talented. This is a high spirally punt. Oh my, this takes him all the way back to the 15. Jenkins looks for some blocks. Jenkins across the 30 to the 32-yard line. A fine return, a 56-yard punt, and a return of 18 yards. So Ohio State goes on offense, and we get our first look at the Buckeye star quarterback, a 6'4" molecular genetics major.
Craig Krenzel, Henry Ford II High School, Sterling Heights, Michigan, 23-3 as a starting quarterback at Ohio State University.
He is a smart, tough, competitive senior who was the MVP of this game a year ago. 23-3 as a starter. Lydell Ross is your tailback. Power formation. Ross, right side, picks up a good chunky yardage. Pickup of 6. Tostitos starting lineups, backs and receivers. Lydell Ross emerged as a starter midway through the season. He had 3 100-yard games in the last 5 outings. Michael Jenkins, you saw him. He's the team MVP. Chris Gamble will get in early. Hartsock and Holmes are solid. Offensive line, really talented. 3 seniors, 2 sophomores. Everybody over 300 pounds except Mangold. He's 280. Stepanovic, 6'4", 300 is the leader. And first team All Big Ten. There's a look at Jim Tressel. Boys, he had a great run at Ohio State, 31-7 in 3 years with the national championship. After the mark, it's 2nd down and 5. First down, Ohio State, Lydell Ross. Defensively for the Wildcats, it's a 4-3 scheme. The defensive line has 21 sacks in the last 5 games, led by the sackmeister, Andrew Scholl, with 8. Not a huge defensive line, but quick and relentless. Linebackers solid, Hickman, Sims, and Josh Buell. He's not big, but he's always around the ball. And in the secondary, Jordan and Williams are your cover corners. Washington and Tetwan at your safeties. 18 interceptions this season for Kansas State.
And Coach Snyder allows Bob Elliott, his defensive coordinator, turn his defensive ends loose. They'll play wide. They can come underneath. They are the key to this great pass rush for Kansas State.
First down, play action. Krenzel on the waggles, got company, and throws it away. We told you he was smart outside the tackle box. When Scholl got to him, he released it for no loss on the play.
Let's take a look at the offensive leaders this year for Ohio State. Of course, everybody knows about Craig Krenzel. You mentioned 23. He mentioned in his open 23 wins, and who can forget the 14 he had last year. Lydell Ross, who was struggling with a turf toe early in the year, finally healthy. He looks good so far tonight. And Michael Jenkins, you cannot talk enough about the big plays that Michael Jenkins has made. Almost made a great one on that punt return. He had a 54-yard punt return for a touchdown against Iowa on his very first return of his career when they were struggling in punt returns.
Very sure-handed, graceful receiver. Second down, Krenzel throws. It's blocked at the line of scrimmage. Again, it was Andrew Scholl who got a hand on it. He ranks 5th in school history with 20 career sacks, but he also is 6'5" with a huge wingspan and blocked that ball.
Well, and that was a little different look by Bob Elliott. Offsides against Kansas State. The defensive coordinator for Bill Snyder does not bring a lot of pressure. Doesn't have to with this great defensive line. That time he brought Josh Buell.
Defense. So 5 penalty.
Ron Cherry has a little problem with his mic. These are officials from the Atlantic Coast Conference. The umpire, Mike Webster. Ron Cherry, your referee.
He ordered a number 6 and supersized it.
Good group from my old conference. One of the least penalized teams in the country. Second down and 5. Ross bangs his way out just short of the midfield mark. Ted Sims is the tackler there. Tim Sims played his best football the last 2 games, but Ross off to a good start.
We'll take a look at the statistical leaders on defense. Josh Buell, who led the Big 12 with over 12 tackles per game, only 210 pounds, kind of a small guy. Shaw with 8 sacks. 18 different guys have notched at least 1 sack for Kansas State. And James McGill, who splits time with Tetuan in the backfield, 6 interceptions, had an amazing pick in the end zone against Jason White in the Big 12 championship game, took it off the ground and made a great catch.
Ohio State spreads the field. Wideouts Jenkins, Holmes, Childress, and Gamble all in the game. Third down and 3. K-State shows blitz. They try to go over the top, and Jenkins was open, underthrown, and picked off. Cedric Williams with his 4th interception of the year. Folks, Williams gives up 8 inches of height to Michael Jenkins, but the ball was underthrown.
Michael Jenkins was wide open. He ran an out and up all-man coverage. Again, a little different look right now for Craig Krenzel that he is getting from Kansas State. He is not used to seeing them play man coverage on film. That brought a lot of pressure that time. That time he just severely underthrew Michael Jenkins.
Krenzel's first interception in 69 attempts, and he's kicking himself because he had a mismatch that he wanted and his receiver was open. Flag and a penalty. And Ron Cherry will straighten us out.
To the snap. Offense.
Tim, I think that Craig Krenzel was surprised that Michael Jenkins got away this quick from the line of scrimmage. Watch how instantly he just kind of lobs this ball up there. He saw the press coverage, saw that Kansas State was bringing some pressure, but I think he expected Cedric Williams to get more of a bump on Jenkins. Tried to lob it up with a little touch pass and just underthrew it because there was no pressure. And I just think that Krenzel was thinking, you know what? It's press man against a physical corner. It may take him a second to get off the line of scrimmage.
You know, even there, he had an 8-inch differential. You'd think he'd just throw it. It looked like he was trying to put too much touch on it. Here's Sproles. Sproles goes down in a hurry. Great grab by A.J. Hawk. You talk about wrapping or grabbing cloth. That time he grabbed the cloth and pulled Sproles down.
And Mark D'Antonio, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, who after tonight becomes a head coach at Cincinnati, and I think will make a great head coach, preaches open field tackling. They just don't talk about it. They every single day take their defensive players and put them in space against quick players, and they play palms up. They want them basically with Darren Sproles to try to catch him. It looked like Hawk was going to get shook out of his boots there, but came up with the grab.
So to bring up second down and 12 for the Wildcats. Roberson with time. Drills it over the middle, incomplete. It was intended for Antoine Polite. He was open on the post pattern. The ball was just thrown too hard, too far out of Polite's reach.
And Coach Snyder, who is the play caller, he has kind of co-offensive coordinators up in the booth with Del Miller, who coaches quarterbacks, and Greg Peterson, who coaches wide receivers, but they're just his eyes. Longtime offensive coordinator for Hayden Fry at Iowa, has never wanted to give that up.
Snyder in his 15th year at Kansas State. He's been National Coach of the Year 3 times. What a job. Third down and 12. Plenty of time for Roberson, and he throws the out pattern now, and it's complete to Dennis. It'll be close, but he'll come up about a yard short, maybe a yard and a half for that first down, so it'll bring up fourth down.
And Dennis made a little bit of an error. He's on the near side. The sticks are on the far side, so it's kind of hard for him to see where he needs to set down in that zone. That is the back side of the route. Roberson was looking front side. Right now he's talking to him saying, Davin, you have to know where the sticks are. You have to get out towards the 40-yard line. And that's exactly what Coach Snyder's telling him.
He wasn't being pressed, I'll tell you that. He was
not
wide
at all.
open.
Yeah, he just lost his sense on the field, but he was on the near side, the sticks on the far side.
Jared Bright getting ready to kick to Michael Jenkins. High snap. This is an end-over-end kick that'll go out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. See where they mark it. Oh, Ohio State did not get a good mark there.
No, that's about a 7 or 8 yard difference between where it went out and where they marked it.
A 24-yard punt by Bright. That's not typical either. We'll take a break. We'll be back. The Valley, Sun Devil Stadium has never looked better. Temperature 60 degrees. Ohio State comes out for its second offensive possession. In the first one, Craig Krenzel had the matchup he wanted and just underthrew it for an interception. His first interception in 69 attempts.
Well, Jim Tressel, like his compadre across the field, Bill Snyder, also calls his own plays. And right now, little adjustment, expecting to see more four-man rush, drop 7, seeing some pressure. And now with Michael Jenkins and Santonio Holmes, who has had a spectacular second half of the season, becomes more of a threat deep down the field.
Problem down on the field, issues with the game clock. The other thing that you would think Ohio State has to adjust is the way they're handling Andrew Scholl, or not handling him, because he's been all over the field. In their first offensive possession, he almost had a sack. Chased Krenzel and forced him to throw it away. Then he knocked down a pass.
Well, the problem is, and we talked to these coaches about getting ready, and that was Jim Tressel's biggest concern, is game speed. You can do as much as you can full speed, but you've got to be careful not to injure these guys. And I think right now the offensive line for Ohio State may be a little surprised at the speed of Andrew Scholl.
So while they get the game clock squared away, you know, this offense
has been adjusted.
So the game clock
seconds is the time.
Has been adjusted to 9:59.
Well, with this matchup, they don't want to cheat us.
What I was going to say about Ohio State's offense, it's been a tough season. 94th nationally, and you think they miss Maurice Clarett? Last year, Clarett ran for 16 touchdowns himself. This season, the Buckeyes as a team have rushed for a total of 14 touchdowns.
A lot of that had to do with the health of both Lydell Ross and Maurice Hall.
No question.
Ross had that turf toe, man, and early in the year, you could see he just couldn't push off. Right now, the healthiest he's ever been, and he's run hard inside a couple of times.
Averaging 4 yards a carry. Tries to pattern his style after Eddie George. Let's see if he can have that kind of success. First down, Ross, left side, gets a block, now runs right into a tackler. Rashad Washington, the safety, came up and made the first hit. He had a lot of help.
Well, let's look at Ohio State versus Kansas State numerically. Ohio State is not exactly torn it up. You mentioned the struggles they had running the ball. They've had a little bit of success throwing it, but 331.8 yards per game. They kind of play takeaway. Defensively, Kansas State got better and better and better, fourth in the country in scoring. And during the stretch, the 7-game stretch that they went on and won all of those ball games, they were under 10 points per game allowed.
Somehow Ohio State always seems to get it done, and they are best in close games. Here's a little screen. They throw underneath. Ross is out close to a first down. He'll be 2 yards short. Josh Buell tracked him down. He's the leading tackler for Kansas State. Big 12's leading tackler. Averages 12 a game.
Buell, a guy who, if he has aspirations to play in the NFL, as I'm sure he does, he's going to change positions. Although he won't go too far away from the line of scrimmage.
Oh, I agree with you.
I mean,
it'll be very much like Adam Archuleta.
Or Darren Woodson, who played here at Arizona State and went to the Dallas Cowboys, was a linebacker here and now probably a Hall of Famer at safety.
You know, he's listed at 210. I bet you he's not 195. Three-step drop. Krenzel again looks for a mismatch and overthrows Jenkins, who had a step on Cedric Williams.
Even though that was a little overthrown, a much better throw that time by Craig Krenzel, because that time Cedric Williams got a little more of a bump on Jenkins, turned and ran with him. And Williams, a junior college transfer, his first year at Kansas State, didn't play much the first 4 games, but the light went on. He figured out the defense, and he is the best cover guy, and there's no wonder why he's lining up one-on-one on number 12.
Michael Jenkins is not one to get frustrated, but he's been open twice now and hasn't gotten the ball. Sanders punt. Darren Sproles looks at it and takes it at the 17. So a 37-yard punt, no return.
B.J. Sander won the Ray Guy Award as the nation's best punter. He is so good at dropping the ball inside the 20-yard line.
8:27 to play. First quarter in Tempe. No score. Craig Krenzel just 1 for 4 already in this ball game. Michael Jenkins has been wide open twice. They got the mismatch they wanted, but they've been unable to hit him. No receptions
Cedric
yet.
Williams at 5'9". It's obvious that that's what Kansas State wants to do, is have him one-on-one against the best receiver for the Buckeyes. Eventually, they're going to have to run some underneath stuff to loosen him up.
Well, you saw he's made a catch in 38 straight games, looking for his first one here. Sproles has nowhere to go around the right side. Made a lost a yard. Simon Frazier, the defensive end, got there first. Good pursuit by Ohio State.
Let's take a look at the leaders for Kansas State. Of course, L. Roberson. You know, as a fan of college football, I'm glad he got the start. Hopefully everything's cleared up. Darren Sproles, I said he's a whirling dervish of a running back. He will make people fall on their face the entire game. And James Terry, kind of the forgotten name in this offense. Kansas State single-season record, 1,174 receiving yards, a great 63-yard touchdown against Oklahoma, and he averages nearly 20 yards per reception. Look for them to take a shot over the top sometime in the first quarter.
Second down, they need 11. Here's the give to Sproles. Got those quick feet, but he's not outrunning this defense. This defense tracks him down, and he loses another yard.
I'll tell you what, right now, this defense from Ohio State, for team speed, and it's amazing. Del Miller, the offensive coordinator from Kansas State, who was at Iowa under Hayden Fry and with Coach Bill Snyder, said this is not like any defense we ever saw in the 10 or 12 years we were at Iowa in the Big Ten. And Jim Tressel said last year he thinks that was the biggest advantage he had against Miami, was Miami didn't realize how fast this defense was. I don't think Kansas State right now realizes how fast these guys in white are.
You know, we talked about Lydell Ross of Ohio State patterning himself after Eddie George. I'll tell you, Sproles reminds me of Barry Sanders.
And that's the guy who, no question, he said, I patterned myself after. Tried to meet him at the Oklahoma State game and missed his chance.
Roberson has tons of time, but then overthrows his receiver, James Terry. Boy, he's got a gun. Good coverage, though, by Chris Gamble. That adrenaline flow has to be really pumping right now.
And if there is one thing about L. Roberson, he has an amazingly strong arm, but there is one thing that he's lacking, a little bit of touch, and that time he just had to get the ball out of there. There's nowhere to go. Good zone coverage call that time by Mark D'Antonio. No pressure, but there was nowhere for Roberson to go.
Well, Jared Bright has had two punts. One was from 57. The other was only 24 yards. Jekyll and Hyde. Here's a low snap. Pressure blocked. Ohio State's got it. Touchdown Buckeyes. That.
Harlan Jacobs got the block.
On the one-point conversion attempt.
And the extra point is good. It looked like Frost had the touchdown. Jacobs came clean, got great penetration, laid out, and was in there before Bright could move. The low snap contributed.
Good job by Harlan Jacobs. He was unblocked. You go right to the, you study the film, you figure out where does Bright kick from, how long is his stride. Bright, a long strider, take it right off of his foot. That is perfect execution of rush, and Kansas State just did not block him.
7-0 Buckeyes. The junior from Newbern Heights. Ohio has the touchdown after the block, and it's 7-0 Buckeyes.
Yeah, but he better be going over to Harlan and saying, hey, nice job, Harlan. What a great job by Harlan Jacobs. The wingman out there just barely laid a glove on him. He dipped under him and went right to the point where Bright was kicking it. That was excellent execution. Good job. You always expect sound fundamentals from Ohio State. That was great.
Marcel Frost and John Hollins both wear 84. Here's Sproles. Gets a block. He's across the 20. He's got speed. There's a flag down across the 40 and out to the 43-yard line. We'll wait to see what the flag is back at the 12.
I think that's coming back. I thought I saw a block in the back.
A return of 43 yards. And they'll bring it back.
Yeah, I think there was a block in the back. I believe Rob Harley, who was working one-on-one against Bobby Carpenter.
Return. Half the distance. First down.
So a big return by Sproles is negated by the block in the back. They bring it all the way back. And Kansas State will start once again with poor field position. This will be marked just outside the 5, I believe.
Here's where you're going to look right here. This is where you're going to see the block in the back. You just got to pull up. And that's a good call. Right by the ball.
So it'll be first down for the Wildcats just outside the 5. Start in the I, switch with L. Roberson now out of the gun. Roberson throws incomplete. Antoine Polite was the intended receiver. Roberson now just 2 for 6 and hadn't found his rhythm.
You know, you mentioned something on the last throw when he had time to throw, and he threw a ball that was about 117 miles an hour out to James Terry. I can't even imagine the emotions going through L. Roberson. But, you know, sometimes it's good just to get out on the ball field. Just all the things that are going on. This is a place, a safe place for you to come and compete. And I just hope that El can get himself calmed down, because right now there's no question that there is a lot of adrenaline coursing through those veins.
What does he mean to this team? How about 7,600 yards of total offense? The draw. They track him down at the 8. Bobby Carpenter made the tackle. This defense right now, it is swarming.
Well, and you know, when we met with him a few weeks ago, we went up to Ohio State to get an early start on our prep, and we were talking to Mark D'Antonio, the defensive coordinator. And it was a week and a half. No, it was actually 2 weeks after the Michigan game, and he was still physically upset, emotionally upset about how poorly his defense played, and the other players too, that upset. And you can just tell they've come out. Will Smith, all these guys have it geared up. They are not going to be embarrassed like they were at Michigan.
Terry and Dennis to the top of the screen. Polite at the bottom, out of the gun. Shuffle pass to Sproles. To the 9, maybe the 10, that's it. Reynolds and Hawk made the tackle.
Well, this is what Kansas State has done all year. Out of this shotgun, they'll run the option, they'll run the shovel pass underneath. But I think right now, Bill Snyder needs to stop any kind of misdirection that takes time. There is, right now, Ohio State is playing as fast as any defense as I've seen in a long time. He needs to go right at him.
Low line kick by Jared Bright. Jenkins has it, and he's into Kansas State territory, back to the 43-yard line. So a 41-yard punt and a 7-yard return, and the Buckeyes will start with great field position. So the explosive offense that we expected to see out of Kansas State is not here. Ohio State shutting them down pretty good, and now we'll see the Buckeyes go on offense, and for the first time, great field position. You know, you've never been inside the FBI. You've never been inside the mob, is advised. Try the reverse, Santonio Holmes. And Kansas State all over it. They'll lose yardage back to the 45. Jermaine Berry made the stop.
Well, it's not like those purple shirts are slouches on defense either now. I mean, Ohio State's playing lights out defensively.
How about this? You know what? You're right. Kansas State has allowed only 4 offensive touchdowns in the last 24 quarters.
You know, and it's amazing. They're almost forgotten because of all the big names on offense for Kansas State. But this defense has gotten better and better. They talk about embarrassing games. For Ohio State, on defense, it was Michigan. For Kansas State, it was Oklahoma State. They got shoved all over the field. They stuck their foot in the ground, said, you know what? We're not going to let it happen again. They won 7 games in a row after that.
Buckeyes need 11 on second down. Krenzel has pressure from behind and throws to a wide open Holmes, and it's incomplete. Well, Hickman had the pressure, and somehow Santonio Holmes came clear and was wide open.
Well, I think adrenaline might be playing a little part on both of these quarterbacks. Both of them missed throwing a little bit early. Pressure from Hickman, but that's not what causes the bad throw. Holmes was wide open.
This is unbelievable.
Yep, the safety backing out of there.
Look at this. That's a
touchdown.
touchdown.
The corner, Randy Jordan, and he just absolutely takes his eyes. You've got that quarter of the field. You better not take your eyes off of number 4.
Craig Krenzel now just 1 for 5 with an interception. Third down and 11. Steps up, tries to buy some time. Throws to the flats. Has it complete to Childress. Look out. Childress is loose. Inside the 10. Bam Childress. The 5'10", 185 junior takes it all the way down inside the 10-yard line, a gain of 35.
Bam Childress, who came to Ohio State as a defensive back, spent a little bit of time trying to carry the ball at running back. And Jim Tressel has now found a place for this young man in his offense. He's kind of a tweener. They'll put him in the slot. They'll sometimes put him in the backfield and get him out on screens. He has great speed, and they just had to find a way to get number 3 involved in the offense, and they did.
Buckeyes go to the elephant formation. They go low. Parksock and Hamby, 2 tight ends. The give straight ahead to Ross. Tries to bounce to the right side, and not much. You know, you have the feeling with these 2 defenses, the way they play, Ed, that this will be a game that is perhaps low scoring, whatever that may be. But it will be a game of big plays. You have to believe that with all the talent that's on the field.
Well, and the first big play was Bam Childress. Linebacker made a choice to kind of come off of and force Krenzel to make the throw, and he did. And Ohio State, though, has not been good in the red zone in scoring touchdowns. Right at 50% touchdowns to trips inside the red zone. And Mike Nugent is almost automatic, so they'll take the 3, but right now, they've got to get that number better in the red zone.
2nd and goal. Krenzel into the end zone. It's tipped incomplete. Boy, Randy Jordan thought he had an interception intended for Holmes.
Randy Jordan trying to make up for letting Santonio Holmes go free. That time he spun around. Jordan, another guy who was fighting a hammy, did not start, did not play against Missouri, played a little bit against Oklahoma back in. Good compliment to the other cornerback, Cedric Williams. But 44 trips on the season into the red zone and only 22 touchdowns. And Kansas State, one of the absolute best in the Big 12 at stopping people in the red zone.
Jenkins looks confused. Switches sides now with Childress. And because of the confusion, Krenzel takes a timeout.
What would you say Krenzel's major was?
Molecular genetics.
Yeah, he's going to manage the game just fine, thank you.
Academic All-American. Won the Dratty Award, which is known as the Academic Heisman.
Well, you sure don't want to get a penalty or at 3rd down and 7. Goal to go. You don't want to blow anything and have somebody not knowing what to do, thinking out of position, anything like that.
Hey, folks, Sunday night, catch the dramatic conclusion to the most talked about bowl championship series in history. Heisman Trophy winner Jason White leads #1 Oklahoma against #2 LSU for the BCS National Championship. Don't miss the Nokia Sugar Bowl Sunday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC Sports Championship Television.
You know who I like here?
Who's that?
We were just talking about him the last series. Who's Jenkins going against? The 5'9" corner.
No question.
I would put Jenkins out, and we saw him against Penn State.
Cedric Williams.
It was that buzz fade where the ball, it was actually Scott McMullen who threw it, but it was Craig Krenzel who called that play against Penn State. You throw that buzz, he's out there running the fade, the cornerback has to turn, never sees it. He can buzz it right in there.
Well, we told you at the top, Jenkins is the mismatch guy. He's 6'5", Williams 5'9". They're not going to get that matchup here. 3rd and goal. Krenzel's got pressure, now rolls right. Looks to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes has matured, a redshirt freshman. He matured in one day, and that day was when Ohio State played on the road against Indiana when Drew Carter got hurt. Look at the top of your screen. Watch him finish this route. Cedric Williams should have never let him get this step. He closes it. Krenzel, what an unbelievable throw on the run by Krenzel, but that's a good job by a freshman finishing the play.
Extra point is good. The play was made by Krenzel's scramble.
Absolutely.
He bought time, and it's hard to stay with a receiver that long. If you go back and count, I guarantee he had the ball 5 seconds.
And Krenzel, you know, sometimes you look at him and you think he wouldn't be as good a runner, but let's not forget, MVP of the Fiesta Bowl last year, he led all rushers with 81 yards. Bought great time, but again, you go to Santonio Holmes, Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator, and Coach Tressel.
Standing at his own goal line. Mike Nugent, one of the best place kickers in college football. Let's see what happens. Little pooch kick.
I like the call.
Ball's loose. Kansas State gets it back.
Excellent call by Jim Tressel.
Well, and Nugent is the best at that.
Excellent call by Jim Tressel. Io Saba's the fullback who's trying to get underneath of this thing.
Yeah, but Saba's heart skipped a beat right there.
Dustin Fox would have been there to get it. Good job by Saba, though. You got to give him credit for staying with it. But
he didn't want to see Bill Snyder if he didn't get back to it.
And right now, Kansas State needs their leader, El Roberson. Get everything that happened off the field in the last 24 hours out of your head. Settle down. He really grew into a leader this year that they needed, especially after that 3-game skid. They need him to get something going.
First down, high snap. Roberson in trouble, losing yardage. Carpenter got there in a hurry.
At this point, it's almost like basketball. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Snyder called a timeout, brought his team together. This is Nick Leckie, 2-time All-Big 12 and All-American. How many bad snaps do you think he's thrown? This is his 40th career start. They're in the shotgun all the time. You don't expect your seniors and your leaders to play like this. Bill Snyder's got to get these guys settled down.
I've got to tell you, I'm surprised. I didn't think Ohio State would score a lot of points early. And, of course, Kansas State explosive. Their average margin of victory over the last 22 games, 35 points a game. Not scoring, that's margin of victory. Roberson throws deep, has a man. Incomplete, great coverage. Nate Sally had it hit off his helmet. It was intended for Polite.
Well, Nate Sally got caught peeking into the backfield a little bit.
That's why it hit the back of his helmet. He was trying to make up ground.
The inside receiver, Polite. Will Allen, thinking he's going to have safety help, comes off it, and Sally was just a half a second late getting over there, but good job finishing it. There is no face guarding in college football for all you NFL fans. The defender does not have to turn back and look at the ball, and that was good recovery speed by the sophomore Sally.
So it brings up 3rd down and long, make it 12. Roberson almost picked off. It was intended for Terry. He almost looks like he's throwing it too hard.
Yep. Well, and Chris Gamble had another great break on the ball. We just saw Nate Sally. We've been talking about the speed of Ohio State, how much defensive speed they have. The play before we saw Nate Sally, that time a great break on the ball by Chris Gamble.
Kansas State averages 446 yards of total offense a game. They've got 19 yards of total offense right now in the first quarter.
Need to settle down. Get Sproles going and just line it up, run some ISOs, some inside traps, go right at this defense and try to slow them down a little bit.
Buckeyes are coming. Bright gets it off. It's a high tail wagger. Jenkins takes it at the 39. Tries to buy some time, but they're all over it. But again, Ohio State will have excellent field position after a 42-yard punt, a 7-yard return, and they'll mark the ball at the 46. .135 to play in the first quarter. Ohio State 14. Kansas State nothing. Ohio State blocked a punt. Hollins recovered it for a 7-yard touchdown. Make it 7-0. Then Holmes with a 6-yard touchdown pass from Krenzel to make it 14-0.
With that throw that Krenzel made, I'd let him air it out. Get him back in the pocket. Right now, the Ohio State offensive line doing a nice job blocking the front of Kansas State. They're giving him plenty of time.
Childress the motion man. First down. This is Ross. Big hole, right side. Explodes out to the 45. They'll mark it at about the 44.
We'll take a look at our Jeep rushing playbook. A little inside trap play.
Or correction, 46.
Ben Hartsock, the all Big Ten tight end. He's going to come inside. Nose guards unblocked. Watch the trap. The Washington Redskins, back when they had the Hogs and Joe Bugle was their offensive line coach, used to use that wing trap all the time. And Hartsock, who's always been a great blocker, has now also turned him into a very fine receiver.
So at the 46, 2nd down and 1. Ross again. Picks up the first, moves it down to the 41.
He looks like a different guy than earlier in the season. You know that game we did, the NC State game, 3 overtimes. Ross, he just didn't look explosive, and you'd heard all the time about how explosive he was, and it's amazing how much better he got at the end of the season.
Well, Indiana was his breakout game. He had 170 yards. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks in a row. Indiana, Penn State, Michigan State, he ran for a total of 408 yards. He just went on a tear. You're right. First down, Buckeyes. Ross has speed, gets the corner. Buell misses the tackle. And all the way down to the 20 goes Lydell Ross, the junior out of Tampa, Florida. A gain of 21.
And this is a misdirection pitch. It looks like they're going to run an ISO to the inside. It looks like they're going to run an ISO. Watch the fullback action, and Krenzel's just going to pitch it back. They leave Houchin completely unblocked. And Ross, all he has to do is outrun the defensive end. Houchin read it fine. But this is as good as Lydell Ross has run all year. Houchin making a valiant effort to try to get there, but just doesn't have the speed to keep up with Ross. Good play design by Jim Tressel.
As the first quarter comes to an end, this does not look like the same Kansas State team that beat up on Oklahoma. But it does look like the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes from a year ago. ABC Sports presentation of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. Near perfect cloudless day, 70 degrees, has given way to just a spectacular evening in the Valley of the Sun. Tim Brand, Ed Cunningham, Sam Ryan with you. You are watching the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, Arizona. Ohio State leads Kansas State 14-0, and the Buckeyes are threatening again. First down, Ohio State. Play action. Krenzel has time. Looks to the end zone. Intercepted. Cedric Williams with the interception, and it was spectacular.
Cedric Williams, who's been given the assignment of one-on-one against Michael Jenkins, gets beat to the inside. This ball thrown just a little bit late. Good double move there by Jenkins. Set him up with the infoot. This is a bad throw by Krenzel again. He threw one earlier under through Jenkins when he had Cedric Williams beat to the outside. That time he made a great double move in the middle there. Stemmed him, came back to the middle. That ball was thrown late and behind Michael Jenkins.
Cedric Williams with his second interception of the night. He now has 5 on the year. Let's see if that can turn things around for the Wildcats. First down. Option. Roberson has nowhere to run. Maybe gets a yard. Runs right smack into Bobby Carpenter. Let's go downstairs. Here's Sam Ryan. Sam?
Well, Tim, Cedric Williams learned responsibility at a very young age. When he was a senior in high school, his mom, Alma, suffered a heart attack. So he put football and college on hold for 2 years so he could take care of his mom. He actually took a job driving an auto supply truck for $6.75 an hour to help pay for his surgery for her. When his mom's condition improved 2 years later, he walked into Garden City Community College before eventually signing with K-State. I spoke to Alma. She said she's doing fine. She's watching the game from home in Florida.
Sproles with a great run, Sam, while you're giving that nice report on Williams, and he's close to a first down out at the 30. Got a nice block from John Doty. Left tackle, 6'8", 270-pounder from Des Moines, Iowa.
I don't want to take anything away from what Cedric Williams has done. I mean, 2 interceptions, but both of those balls thrown behind Michael Jenkins. And right now, you would expect the two seniors, Craig Krenzel and Michael Jenkins, and Krenzel had that great throw in the back of the end zone to Holmes, the freshman. Expect them to be a little more in sync. They look a little rusty right now.
Holiday season, you're such a Scrooge. That was a heck of a pick, that last one. Sproles goes down again, nowhere to run.
Well, I think that, you know, when we talked to Mark D'Antonio about looking at the option, he said, I would be worried about defending Kansas State's option if we only had a week to prepare. They've had 40 days. They've known since December 8th. Now, they haven't had 40 days.
But you never know how you're going to react after the long layoff.
Well, they know now.
Yeah, sure they do.
Because 1.5 yards per carry, and that was all basically on that one run by Sproles to the inside. I think right now, Kansas State needs to stop going to the edge, man. Get downhill behind Lucky and Lilja, the left guard.
Sproles busted out across the 30 to the 32-yard line. You know, folks, you're looking at the #1 rusher in the United States in total yards. But here he is in this game, 7 carries and only 13 yards to his credit.
Right, he's going against the best run defense in the country.
Just wait for that explosion, though.
Oh, something will come, but right now.
I mean, this is the same guy that ran for 235 yards against Oklahoma.
He led the nation at 6.6 yards per carry as well. But again, Ohio State, all that speed, very physical up front. They're winning the battle.
3rd down and 8, play action. Roberson's got problems. Escapes and throws incomplete. It was intended for James Terry. Good coverage by the Buckeyes, and they'll have to punt it away again. But Will Smith was coming hard after Roberson.
Will Smith and Simon Frazier doing a really nice job converging. And Roberson, who is like having a back in the backfield. Inside. What a great inside move. Just no chance at all for the left tackle, John Doty, to do anything about that. Right now, the fans of Kansas State they saw on the replay, they thought that Gamble interfered with Terry. I didn't see that.
So Jared Bright's getting leg weary here early in the ball game. He's got to punt again, and Jenkins is standing at the 25. This is a boomer.
He's just getting warmed up.
Jenkins goes back to the 20 and hit immediately. Loses yardage after the catch.
That's our guy.
A 49-yard punt. Cedric Williams having a terrific game.
Yeah, he's having one to remember so far, isn't he?
12-12 to play in the first half. 14-0 Buckeyes. State looks emotionally drained. They don't look like the same ball club that played Oklahoma. 2 turnovers, and they've been unable to convert them into points. Meanwhile, the Buckeyes look like they're playing for another national title. First down. Ross gets the corner again and gets out to the 25, where Cedric Williams trips him up. And Cedric Williams is playing lights out.
There's an old adage in coaching that when you're getting ready to play an opponent, you have a lot of time, either a bye week or something like that. Take the bad games by the opponent and throw them out. Don't even look at the tape. And it looks to me right now that Kansas State spent too much time looking at the defense of Ohio State against Michigan and not what they did the rest of the year, because that was not indicative. That performance was not indicative of Jim Tressel's defense. And I think maybe Bill Snyder, his players are definitely shocked, but I think maybe even the coaches are a little shocked at how fast this Ohio State defense is.
2nd down and 4. Ross hit immediately. Rashad Washington, the safety, on a blitz.
Tackled by Washington.
Well, coming up on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Show, John and Terry will be joined by Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops and LSU head coach Nick Saban as we look forward to the BCS championship game. Plus, we'll have previews of tomorrow's NFL wildcard games. That's all coming up at halftime. All the fellas down in New Orleans getting ready for the Sugar Bowl.
I would think pressure right now if I'm Bob Elliott, the defensive coordinator. He showed it a little bit earlier. Right now, this is a passing situation for Krenzel. Get the ball out of his hands.
Brandon Joe, the lone setback. 3rd down, and Krenzel's got problems again. Buys time. Throws complete to Jenkins. First down, Ohio State. Jenkins' first catch of the night. So he's made a catch in 39 straight games now, and his 51st of the season.
And that time it was again the feet of Craig Krenzel that make this happen. When he moves out of the pocket, Ted Sims, the middle linebacker, has to move with him. As he moves to his right, Ted Sims is standing at that Mike linebacker spot. He has to go with him, and Michael Jenkins came right in behind where in the zone coverage the Mike linebacker would have been. Good read by Craig Krenzel.
Hamby and Hartsock switch sides. First down, Ohio State. Again, Krenzel on the move, this time being chased by Buell, and is knocked out of bounds after a gain of 1. Boy, Josh Buell can fly.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, it's amazing. You watch Krenzel, and he's had a couple of bad throws. He had the great throw to San Antonio Holmes, but the one thing that's been consistent is you underestimate how fast he is. I thought he was almost going to outrun Buell here.
Pretty good pursuit.
Almost.
Pretty good pursuit.
Yeah. Almost doesn't count. Doesn't horseshoes though.
2nd down Buckeyes need 9. They come on the blitz. Krenzel throws, picks it up. A yard short of the first, but Bam Childress is close. So they'll put it at the 47-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and short. Aflac trivia question. Prior to the 2003 season, who was president of the United States when Kansas State last won a conference championship?
You know, it's been a year-long thing, and I've got my hint ready for that. Tennessee Valley Authority.
They need 1 on 3rd down.
That's going to be on Kansas State.
You think so? I thought Ben Hartsock moved.
Well, he moved when the defensive end over him jumped in. If the officials call this right, well, now we've got a scuffle.
And a flag.
Now there's going to be a personal foul in there somewhere.
Well, you know what the trend is. They call personal fouls on both sides. No harm, no foul. It doesn't affect the ball.
Well, if that's the case, the correct call should be encroachment by Kansas State, because Houchin, he went into the neutral zone, and Hartsock moved because the defender moved in front of him. That was a rule change a few years ago, and a good one.
Here's Ron Cherry.
We have 3 fouls on the play. Dead ball, false start, offense. Then we have, after the play was over, 2 dead balls, personal fouls. Those fouls will offset.
So they're the offsetting personal fouls, and it was Hartsock who moved.
Well, but Houchin's in the neutral zone. He jumps into the neutral zone, and when the offensive player on either side of the defensive player who goes into the neutral zone flinches, watch that. Clearly, he flinches because the defender was in the neutral zone. That's a bad call. An absolutely wrong interpretation of the rule by Ron Cherry's crew.
Now, they say that when the flags were thrown, they didn't hear any whistles.
But Houchin going into the neutral zone caused Hartsock to jump into.
Well, he reacted to Hartsock's head.
No, I didn't see that, Tim.
Now we'll take another look at it. 3rd down, they need 6. Krenzel keeps it himself. And he's got the 1st down.
Well, it doesn't matter now, does it?
Oh, it's a moot point.
We were ready to have one of our arguments, and now we can't.
Pickup of 10 yards. Well, I was right.
That would have been our first argument in 04.
He moved his head.
Well, I heard the whistle.
So did I.
Kansas State's defense, and you're still trying to claim that, you know what, we're going to have to settle this argument. We're going to have to take a look at that again. I can't lose my first argument to you just because you get the last word there.
Bill Snyder not happy. It's hard to believe he's making his first appearance in a BCS bowl game after winning his first outright Big 12 championship. They've won 81 games in the last 7 years at Kansas State. The knock on Bill has always been he schedules cream puffs, but I'll tell you this, that man right there can flat out coach.
Well, and you know what? You can talk non-conference all you want. They're tied with Nebraska for the most wins in the Big 12, which started in 1996. So you can say whatever you want about non-conference schedule, but they've been tied one of the best in the Big 12 conference.
2nd down for Krenzel. Again, he avoids the rush and throws it away. Good pressure by Josh Buell. But Krenzel showing great feet tonight and great presence.
Well, the one thing that Craig Krenzel does very well, and you hear quarterbacks talk about this all the time, you are supposed to feel the pocket and see downfield, not see the rush and feel downfield. Your eyes have to stay down, and Krenzel does such a nice job. And you notice when he runs out of the pocket, he runs parallel to the line of scrimmage because the big money is down the field, not him taking off and picking up 4 or 5 yards in a scramble.
See what Krenzel does here. He's faced with a 3rd down and 8. Timeout on the field.
Well, that's going to get under Jim Tressel's skin. 7:45 left in the 2nd quarter, burning your 2nd timeout.
So far, it looks like the L. Roberson situation has definitely affected the Wildcats. 7:45 to play in the first half. 14-0 Buckeyes, and they're threatening again. So far, it's been all Ohio State. And surprisingly, Kansas State has yet to get out of the blocks. Not playing very well. El Roberson, with everything that's been surrounding him, with the accusations and the filed complaint, he's only 3 of 10, 15 yards. But right now, it's Krenzel. This time he throws to Ross, and Ross is down to the 40-yard line or close to it. He'll mark it at the 41. Tackled by Jermaine Berry.
Boy, what a great play by Berry. He's that inside defensive tackle. They list him at 6 feet. If he's 6 feet, I'm Manute Bol. He's about 5'9", junior college guy. 7 sacks. He leads the defensive line with 78 tackles. That time he read it, did a really nice job, because that was an easy first down if he doesn't chase it down from behind.
This is a high punt that they'll try to pooch and get it inside the 20. It hits at the 5 and is down there. 37 of his 76 punts have been downed inside the 20 this year. He's the best at it. A 36-yard punt. Well done. Let's go back to Aflac. We asked you the Aflac trivia question. Who was the president of the United States when Kansas State last won a conference championship? FDR, 1934.
Did you vote for him?
6:59 to play first half. We'll be back. Buckeyes, B.J. Sander has just pinned the Wildcats inside the 5. So far, El Roberson has not found his rhythm. He is really struggling. Buckeyes show blitz. They bring it off the corner. Roberson beats it, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Chris Gamble.
James Terry did not get the audible. Roberson saw pressure coming from the outside. He called an audible, and James Terry did not get it. He went to run a fade. Gamble peeked a little bit, playing man-in-man coverage. Terry's supposed to break this off, does not. And Gamble, boy, that's a big risk, but it paid off. You're playing one-on-one, still peeking back into the end zone. No wonder his last name is what it is.
So Ohio State showed blitz. El Roberson read it.
James
and his
Terry
receiver did not.
No, he did not. And you saw Roberson pull back away from the line of scrimmage because Ohio State showed the blitz early to that weak side. He came off of what was called to get another route called, and James Terry continued with the old route.
Look out, boys. Here come the Buckeyes. It's almost time to batten down the hatches. Touchdown, Jenkins. Ohio State's on a roll. A 17-yard strike. Krenzel to Jenkins. Stopped by the interception by Roberson.
You know who's loving this right now? USC. Team that ran all over Oklahoma, getting trounced early by Ohio State. This helps their argument a lot, doesn't it?
Nugent's extra point attempt splits the sticks. And with 6:49 to play in the first half, the defending national champions, 21. The Big 12 champions, nothing. Krenzel to Jenkins, making a statement. So the Buckeyes get their first turnover of the night and immediately turn it into points with a touchdown from Krenzel to that guy, Jenkins. 2 interceptions for the Wildcats of Kansas State. They've had no points out of them and getting very little offensive production.
And James Terry, the guy who has been their explosive receiver all year, missed an audible that set up that touchdown. The pick thrown by Roberson.
Darren Sproles, leading rusher in the United States in total yards, has been unable to get going tonight.
I'd be thinking about another pooch if I were Ohio State. You don't want a big play to take this momentum back.
That's exactly why they're doing it. Taken back to the 30-yard line, Victor Mann.
What a great play. The play action is what sets this up. You fake the little ISO inside handoff. Jenkins comes inside, throws a little fake. Randy Jordan, the cornerback who's covering him, not Cedric Williams that time. Watch when Jenkins comes into the middle. He puts his hands up like he's going to go crack block. And watch the eyes of Jordan, number 9. He peeks into the backfield, and that is the step that Jenkins needed. What a great, this guy, he may not have the burning speed, but he is going to make a great pro because of little things like that. Every team needs a guy that can do those little things and do it. It just looks natural when he's going in there. You think crack, crack, crack. He makes it look like that's what he's doing.
Ohio State has had some great receivers as you look at an injured player, and it looks like it's Brandon Archer. But you talk about the receivers that have been at Ohio State: David Boston, Chris Carter, Joey Galloway, Terry Glenn. I mean, they've had some great receivers, and Michael Jenkins trying to put his name with those receivers in the history books in Columbus. Timeout on the field. We'll take a break as well, and we'll return.
2/3 of the fans here in purple.
Sure turned out, didn't they? Right now they're very quiet. Roberson scrambles his way to a first down, and L. Roberson, who's got that great ability to run, has run for over 1,000 yards this year, gets loose for the first time before Will Smith can take him down. A gain of 11.
And right into the middle of that offensive line is where they got that in the last 7 possessions. Well,
not much.
The only 7 possessions.
6 punts and an interception.
One of those punts blocked and recovered for a touchdown.
And on the other side of the field, Ohio State's had to punt only twice and had great success with it. The punt that pinned Kansas State back at the 5 led to an interception. Here's Roberson, threw a strike that time to Polite, and it should have been caught. He needs some help to get out of this funk.
Well, you don't need an offensive lineman down for Kansas State, which is what they have. And that's the right guard, Mike Johnson, who is so key to this offense. Mike Johnson, Nick Leckie, the center, and Ryan Lilja, the left guard. So dominant against Dusty Dvorak and Tommy Harris in the Big 12 championship game.
Well, you look at that one Johnson, and you mentioned 3 guys, because this offensive line is one of the best
combo blockers. Boy,
combo
they get
blockers in the country.
They
yeah,
get
they really
after
are.
it. Yeah, and then the play before against Roberson, it was Lilja and Leckie who did a nice job.
Ben Retley comes in, 73, to take his place. Retley's a 6'7", 305-pound senior.
And right now, Nick Leckie, the center, just calming him down. It's the center's job in there as a leader. Just tell him, line up, play ball.
See the numbers on Roberson. It's 2nd down and 10 for the Wildcats.
It'll help.
That was Darian Scott who came across defensively. We'll see if he was the first to move. And you're right, that'll help. Really have that feeling that Kansas State's got to score before the end of the first half.
Offside, defense. It's a yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
If they don't, they're in a world of trouble.
And they're only 1 touchdown from making this a ball game. And I think that what Bill Snyder needs to continue to do is Roberson and Sproles between the tackles. Not a lot of misdirection. Downhill. It's almost like a body blow to the boxer. You keep going to the outside, you're just going for the headshots. You need to soften them up a little bit.
Well, you got to get Sproles and Roberson in some kind of rhythm. I mean, he's going against the #1 rush defense in the nation, so he's got to be able to throw. Sproles pushes the pile. He's out close to another first down. And into Ohio State territory.
Take a look at our game summary. How did we get to 21-0? And it all started with a blocked punt. Harlan Jacobs coming from the outside. Recovered by John Hollins. And then Craig Krenzel makes a great throw back across his body to Santonio Holmes. And Michael Jenkins, little decoy on the play action. Faked like he was going to block. Got inside Jordan. And another nice throw by Craig Krenzel.
But the Wildcats now in Ohio State territory look like they've got something going. Maybe a little bit more life now. Out of the eye on 1st down and 10. Roberson overthrows James Terry once again and wasn't even close. Let's go downstairs. Here's Sam Ryan. Sam?
Well, Timmy, you've been talking about the L. Roberson situation. As far as the investigation goes, Lieutenant Ron Warner of the Paradise Valley Police Department says there's no supporting evidence, no witnesses, no physical injuries, just 2 opposing descriptions of what happened. Now, the alleged victim was examined by doctors yesterday. The results are not expected until early next week. Warner says Roberson has been fully cooperating, denied the allegations, and told detectives any contact was consensual. No charges have been filed.
You know, Sam, but mentally, and especially,
no
I mean, we've all been here the last, the last 24 hours. That's all anybody in this town has talked about.
Exactly, and we spoke to Bill Snyder before the game, and he said, you know what, I don't know that this isn't a distraction.
Roberson with a spin move, buys some time. Can he make it count? First down, Wildcats.
He didn't look distracted on that one, did he?
James Terry with a catch, moved the chains. Roberson now 4 of 14.
And that is the beauty of athletics. It doesn't matter what's going on in your personal life. This is a place to come and forget all of that for just a moment. And in that moment, L. Roberson did an amazing job. Gamble thought Terry was going to break deep, which was probably a good choice by Gamble. But L. Roberson was the guy who made that happen. It looked like he was going to be sacked for a big loss and spun out of it.
Getting some help from the sidelines. They were pointing at Terry. Throw it to him. Roberson again with pressure. He's not getting away this time. Sacked by Bobby Carpenter. Carpenter, the 240-pound sophomore from Lancaster, Ohio, and a loss of 9.
What a nice stunt on the inside. Bobby Carpenter's lined up over the left guard, Lilja, right here. Both the defensive tackle. This is a 3-man stunt. He's going to come around completely unblocked. And Carpenter, a group of unbelievable sophomores. You think about that recruiting class from a couple of years ago. Maurice Claret, of course, was the #1 name in there, but you have Carpenter, A.J. Hawk, Nate Sally. These guys will be around for a long time. It's a great sophomore class.
Second down and long as they throw a screen pass to Sproles, and it wasn't even close. Boy, he's just not there.
No. Well, and you can't coach height. Bill Snyder tries to coach everything, but he cannot make Darren Sproles 6 feet tall, and I think that's about what he'd have to be to catch that. A little bit of pressure on Roberson, but
how about that number? 0 for 6 third down conversions. And right now they're faced in third and very long. They need 19.
Don't have many plays in the playbook for 19. You might want to try to get something early and see if they can break a run.
Roberson with time. Throws it complete. There's your 19 yards and then some. Antoine Polite down inside the 15. A gain of 31. Bill Snyder never changes. He always looks very calm no matter what the situation.
And that time, Nate Sally, he just kept backing out, kept backing out, kept backing out. He needed to squat down a little bit as Antoine Polite came in there. He needed to set down. He just gave up way too much ground. He had a man-to-man and didn't know where the sticks were. That was a mental error by Nate Sally.
Roberson changes the play. Looks to the end zone, incomplete, intended for Terry, incomplete. I thought he had it for a minute. It looked like he could make that catch.
Yeah, that was weird. He was looking slant the whole way. It looked like he threw a nice ball, and Terry calling for, I'm wondering, you know, he landed a little funny on that catch up at the top. Watch when he comes to the inside.
That's a well-thrown ball.
Yeah, he's got to run through that. And that's Terry, I don't know if he's healthy, Tim. You know, he landed a little funny on that catch on the sideline on the scramble. But he didn't run through that ball. He didn't really need to leave his feet if he could have run through it.
10th play of the drive.
That should have been 6.
Second down and 10. They can get the first down without the touchdown. The option. Inside the 10 and close to the 5 goes L. Roberson. Pickup of 7.
And Nick Leckie does such a great job. Such a great job with the scoop block from the backside. And he has to go a long way to get to A.J. Hawk and gets him cut down. Watch the backside, the scoop all the way to right there to A.J. Hawk. And Leckie, he's going to make a fine professional lineman. Good job. Good movement in the middle of the defensive line.
Third down and 3. Option. Sproles to the 1. Touchdown, Kansas State. Darren Sproles with a great block from Travis Wilson from 6 yards out.
And we finally have ourselves a ball game, don't we?
Joe Ream comes on for the extra point. And it's good.
Well, until the latter part of the second quarter, anything to the outside of this Ohio State defense, any option or toss sweep, was just getting stuffed. I mean, there's just too many white shirts. That drive, the offensive line doing a much better job getting to the second level in the linebackers. Good job by Wilson getting on Will Allen, the safety. And Sproles finishes it, but Smith forces the pitch. That's the defensive end's job. But it was the block by the fullback. Will Allen has the pitch man. He got cut down by Wilson.
Scouting report for Ohio State says that Roberson keeps it about 80% of the time on that option. So they came down and converged on him and left Sproles alone on the corner.
Well, they were coached up. I mean, Mark D'Antonio had them ready. Will Allen is the safety there.
This is a low liner that hits at the 17. Bam Childress picks it up, tiptoes past the 15 to the 17-yard line. Tackled by Josh Buell. Reminder coming up on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Show. John and Terry will be joined by Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops and LSU head coach Nick Saban as we look forward to the BCS championship game. Plus, we'll have previews of tomorrow's NFL wildcard games. That's all coming up at the half. Down in New Orleans tonight. They're down in the Big Easy.
Don't be out too late, boys. I saw Craig James already has food poisoning. Let's hope everybody's...
That's a likely story. A lot of people have claimed that down on Bourbon Street.
Sounds like the whiskey flu to me.
2:53 remaining in the half. First down. Defense stops Ross. No gain.
Well, now you got the battle of two coordinators. Jim Tressel, who calls his own plays on offense. And over on the other side, you've got Bob Elliott. He's going to stack the box. And there is no way in the world that Jim Tressel wants to give this ball back to Kansas State. So he's going to have to open up the playbook just a little bit. I don't think there's going to be much room inside. And there's a look at Jim Bowman, the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator who helps Coach Tressel make the calls.
Well, Ohio State felt coming in they could be physical against this defense. I mean, Oklahoma State mauled the Wildcats physically, but they're relentless. Krenzel with time looks to the outside. It was intended for Holmes and incomplete, so it'll bring up third down and long.
And therein lies the problem of having to open up the playbook. You knew you were not going to be able to run for a first down, so you've got to throw it. Well, now you save some of the clock for the opponent. I like the call by Jim Tressel, but live by it, die by it. Now you stop the clock, and if you do end up having to punt, Kansas State ends up with a little more time on the clock for their offense.
And the crowd from Kansas State is alive again. Up until this point, you just heard from the red side. Play clock down to 2. Right side, Ross, not much. Josh Buell again made the tackle.
Great timeout by Kansas State.
They stopped the clock with 1:57 to play in the half.
Great timeout. You are not going to find two better coaches that manage games than Bill Snyder and Jim Tressel. These guys could sit down and write volumes about how to control the game between your offense, your defense, your special teams, and then the clock, when to go for it, when to not. These guys have seen it all.
Well, Kansas State was unranked November 9th in the BCS. They have skyrocketed, now number 10. But a lot of that had to do with the injury to L. Roberson. They started out, they were ranked number 7 in the preseason. They won their first 4 games, and L. Roberson broke his hand. They stumbled several weeks in a row, losing close games by an average of 5 points. But he came back, they ran off a string of 7 straight and beat Oklahoma. He's a difference maker, L. Roberson.
And if you were watching this game and you thought at 21-0, L. Roberson, the Kansas State Wildcats, were going to pack it in, you didn't follow their season, because they lost 3 games in the middle in the middle, early part of that season. Everyone thought they were going to pack it in. Roberson said they had a team meeting, got everything sorted out, and ran off 7 in a row.
Here's your Ray Guy Award winner, B.J. Sander, trying to get off a boomer. And he does. It's a high punt, not particularly long. And it's returned to the 43-yard line. So a 43-yard punt and a return of 5 yards. Kansas State gets good field position with 1:47 to play in the first half. While we got a chance, let's go to New Orleans. Check in with. All right, fellas, and you're right. He wasn't mentally in the ball game early on, which we expected. But yeah, he looked sharp the last drive, and this ball's batted down incomplete. Simon Frazier again, one of those big guys at 6'6", 265 with a 9-foot wingspan, it seems. Knocked it down.
They're taking forever for that to set up.
Best starting field position, though, for the Wildcats all night.
Delayed screen for Sproles. That's Jim Haycock, the defensive line coach. Coach at the University of Washington. I was there visiting the other day. He said, Ed, I am spoiled with this group that I've been coaching for the last few years.
Kansas State with plenty of time. They don't have to rush. Incomplete. Intended for Polite, and again, it looked like a catchable ball. Will Allen's talking to him. The first-team All-American safety was there on the coverage.
Well, we were talking earlier, if there is one thing that L. Roberson has in abundance, it's arm strength. This time he does have to zip it in because Allen, the safety, is over the top of Polite. A little bit to the inside, but I agree that looked like a catchable ball.
How about Will Allen, his first year as a starter, and makes first-team All-American. Talk about a game changer.
Made himself a few dollars, too.
Third down and 10. Three-man rush. Plenty of time for Roberson. Throws over the middle, and it's almost picked off.
I don't know what he was looking at.
Well, Dante Whitner may have been the only guy open.
Well, he was wide open. Yeah, they had. It looked like they had Davin Dennis running free down the seam, and then Polite was coming behind it a little bit late with a what looked like a post.
It's a great scene. Every time Roberson comes to the sidelines, Bill Snyder very calmingly goes over, teaches, coaches, advises, tries to get him settled down a little bit. Here's a good punt that hits inside the 5, but goes into the end zone for a touchback, so they'll bring it out to the 20. But a 58-yard punt.
And very little time off the clock. Now Craig Krenzel gets to come out with 2 timeouts, minute 21 left, and see if they can't run their hurry-up drill.
Some serious strategizing going on both sides.
I think they should try to get a hurry-up going for Ohio State, but I would not be surprised getting to know Jim Tressel very well this year's third game we've done. 21-7 lead with the way he plays defense. If they wouldn't be happy trying to just burn this clock out.
Ohio State still has 2 timeouts remaining.
What do you think the senior quarterback asked him if he had his choice? What would he want to do?
Ross with a big game, but then just got tattooed. Rashad Washington was there with a picture-perfect tackle.
And Washington has been the steadiest player for Kansas State on defense this year.
Best defensive back, certainly.
Blocks punts. He has 4 of those this year.
Boy, he goes a lot of plays in a game, too. Never comes out.
And right now, Bill Snyder with 1 timeout. Not much he can do.
Clock is under a minute now. 50 seconds remaining in the half.
Just because of the excitement of the game, and I always like to see teams run the hurry-up offense. I'd like to see them do that, but I understand the thinking by
Play
Jim
clock
Tressel.
down to 2. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long.
I get kind of selfish sometimes. I like to see that. A guy like Krenzel, he's played so well, senior. I want to see him go out there, and who knows, he might not be able to run a hurry-up drill at the end of the game. I'd like to see him do it one more time while he's at Ohio State.
Final 15 seconds, and they'll say that's it. Let's get into the house.
Can't blame him.
So Ohio State came out of the block, scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter to make it 14-0. They started the second quarter with a touchdown pass to Jenkins. It was 21-0. And then finally, L. Roberson woke up on a big drive, 70 yards. He hit Sproles. It was a 6-yard touchdown run on the option. Let's go downstairs. Here's Sam.
Coach Tressel, they finally got something going on offense. Does L. Roberson look like a different quarterback to you now?
I tell you what, they've got a great offense. They've been scoring 40 points a game the last 8 or 9 games. Now, this is going to be a battle. Everyone knew it was. Two of the best teams in the country, and it's going to go down the wire.
Now, you've said coming into this game that K-State is the hottest team in the country. That being said, what do you tell your guys inside so they don't get hot on you in the second half?
Well, you know, they've been banging into each other out there. They know what's going on. They know it's going to be a battle, 30 more minutes or more, and you don't have to say much to them. They're aware.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Jim Tressel. All right, Sam, thank you very much. A pretty good first half. We'll see what happens after intermission. Right now, let's take you down to New Orleans, the Big Easy, and John Saunders. This is Gamble. He's got some room, and now there's Josh Buell who takes him down, and that's where the Buckeyes will start. Tim Brand along with Ed Cunningham, and it looked like the momentum did change at the end of that first half. Do you agree or disagree?
It was all Ohio State up until that last drive by Kansas State. Kansas State had 26 yards of total offense until that drive, 70 yards on that drive, and the key was they were able to get on the edge. They hadn't been able to do that at all. The option got to the outside, and also a couple of nice inside runs. I think that's what they need to continue to do, is pound a little inside and soften up Ohio State.
L. Robertson's situation, was that the key that took him out a little bit mentally? You got to believe it, don't you?
Well, and he looked like a whole different player in that last drive from what we saw in the first 9 possessions for Kansas State. He looked like the off-field thing was in his head, and it was that last drive where he finally looked like the L. Roberson that we saw the last 7 games of this year.
Crowd wanted interference. So did Holmes. Turns out to be good coverage by Jordan.
Here's the Nokia game summary, the first half stats. 168 total yards for Ohio State. The 21 points, of course, aided by the blocked punt recovered for a touchdown. And the 7 points off of that L. Roberson interception down by the goal line.
Ross on the carry, not much there. Wildcats defensively swarming. Ross slow getting up. Dinged up his shoulder a little bit.
Ross, a guy who battled, we talked about the turf toe, but he also had some stingers. And the way he's holding that left arm right now, yeah, definitely, that's a shoulder stinger. You take a pop, the nerve fires down the arm and makes it go numb. That's Doug Callan, the head trainer.
Not only the turf toe, he had hamstring problems earlier this year as well. So Brandon Joe comes in to replace him. Pressure on Krenzel. He throws it away, but he wasn't out of the box.
That's a flag, yeah, that's a flag.
Didn't get out of the tackle box. Flags come in late. Justin Montgomery will get credit with the sack.
And Montgomery has been the key in the middle. Has been the absolute key in the middle for this Kansas State defense. You mentioned that drubbing, the beating they really took against Oklahoma State. Well, Montgomery had an ankle, came out, tried to play, could not play in the middle, and that's why Oklahoma State.
Incomplete pass, there's no foul on the play.
Oh,
wow,
that's
how
an
about
awful
that?
Call. That is an awful, awful call. That was intentional grounding by I mean, that you could put that on a official tape to coach up officials.
Referee Ron Cherry's behind the play, so he had a good line sight of the tackle box. Sproles is standing on his own 20. Sander gets off a high kick, not a particularly long kick. And dangerously, Kansas State player gets blocked almost into it.
Gamble should have let that thing go.
Let's go downstairs. Here's Sam Ryan.
And Tim, I just caught up with Bill Snyder coming out of the half. He said he told the team, hey, we're not on the same page. We're not playing like we did the last 7 games coming into this, when he said lack of emotion, lack of intensity. I asked him what he attributed the slow start to, if it was the distraction with the L. Roberson situation. He said, no, it's just lack of emotion and intensity, guys.
You know, that's hard to believe, though, Sam. I mean, they've come out. That's all we've heard the last 24 hours. I can't believe that they weren't talking about it in their rooms.
Oh, they were.
Talking about it everywhere.
Last night, the roommates, yeah, you know, you put guys 2 to a room. I guarantee they were up late last night talking about it.
Come out with a reverse. This is Morera. Great block, and Morera's got a first down.
Boy, Jeremy Clary. That's a knockout, my friend.
A gain of 16, and the only true freshman to see significant playing time got to that corner quickly on the reverse.
And Jeremy Clary is going to remember this hit on Simon Frazier. He spins back behind him. Frazier has no idea he's coming. Night, night.
How about
Watch
that?
This hit. Clary, a 6'7", 290-pound sophomore, and Frazier has no chance.
Everybody went with Sproles as
Roberson,
the freshman.
Yeah, Roberson does a nice job downfield getting on the legs of the safety salad.
Gain of 13, first down Wildcats. Roberson gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe gets a yard. Simon Frazier met him there. Big old Simon Frazier, 6'6", 265 pounds, from Upper Arlington, Ohio.
Let's take a look at the Home Depot second half coaching adjustments. I think for Ohio State, they have to keep the playbook open. They got a little vanilla at the end of the second half. I know they were running the clock out. And for Kansas State, they need to run downhill. You cannot spend a lot of time against this Ohio State speed. You got to the edge on that last drive, but I think they need to soften the middle a little bit with this powerful offensive line.
Second down and 9. Roberson's in trouble, slips and goes down. Pressure was coming by Carpenter, and Roberson helped him a little bit when his cleats wouldn't hold.
Well, that happens on this field.
You played on it as a pro.
Yeah, the grass is in. I spent a lot of time on my back on it while I was a pro. But the middle of this field was resodded on December 15th. Of course, the Cardinals and Arizona State and some high school games. This is the 21st game played on this AstroTurf. Well, I guess Ohio State's trying to prove they're a better defense than Oklahoma, and I guess right now you'd have to say they are, wouldn't you?
Number one defense in the country, certainly playing like it. Roberson on a little waggle, tries to buy some time, now throws deep. He's looking for James Terry, and it's picked off by Campbell. A flag comes in. There's going to be interference.
Nate Sally. Although I think that Jim Tressel's going to have a very serious argument about an uncatchable ball. And he's on the field right now. Nate Sally clearly interfered with James Terry, but this ball thrown so far to the inside, I think there's a pretty legitimate argument this is not a catchable ball.
It's going to be pass interference against Ohio State.
I think Coach Tressel has a pretty good beef here.
You better be careful. You may get another flag.
Say he's nowhere near him. I think he's right.
The ball was nowhere near him. He leveled the coach. He had a chance to catch it.
What are you yelling about, Coach?
He had a chance to catch it.
Great stuff.
Here comes the hit. James Terry stopping to go. Yeah, well, you got to call it. I
How
think
can you not call it?
Well, I think there's a legitimate argument that could James Terry get back to it, but you got to at least give the guy a chance.
Oh my!
Oh boy, that's a whoa. That's to the head. The right call. I mean, I can see why Coach Tressel was out on the field arguing, but that was the correct call.
Sproles, and he gets tagged. A.J. Hawk was there waiting for him and just tagged him. A.J. Hawk, 6'2", 230-pound sophomore out of Centerville, Ohio. Still very young. What a career he's going to have. Leading tackler, not only for Ohio State, but he's first team all-conference and really special.
Yeah, and that's saying something in the Big Ten. There's a couple guys who could play linebacker in this conference. Making it a little rough. Darren Sproles averaged 6.6 yards per carry. They've cut that in more than half tonight so far.
Second down and 9. Roberson. Incomplete again. Intended for Terry. Great coverage by Gamble.
This is the first year that Chris Gamble's played nothing but cornerback. I mean, he's played a little bit of wide receiver, but nothing like he did last year. Matter of fact, last year he started on offense at the beginning of the year and then worked his way into the lineup. He's gotten beat a couple of times this year, most notably Lee Evans. But right now he's playing really well against James Terry.
And again, the Kansas State folks thought Gamble got there early. He's just so good. He times it so well. Third down and a long 9, almost 10. Morera in motion. Underneath screen to Morera. Lunges forward, short of the first. Correction, it's Dennis. but he's not going to get the first down.
I'd go for it. And Coach Snyder's looking at it. How close is it? Go for it, Coach.
He's going.
Yep, absolutely.
Roberson, Sproles are all staying on the field.
Yep. Got to do it. Bring it in the heavy, folks. And don't be surprised if old Bill Snyder has a trick up his sleeve. You bring in the heavy folks and pack them in. A guy like Roberson, maybe a play fake, naked boot or something like that. See if he can't get a big one here.
Ohio State likes this situation defensively. They said the rules of this are straight ahead, no fair dodging. Let's get after it. Now a timeout is taken by the Buckeyes.
Well, I don't think that Ohio State got the personnel they wanted on the field. When Coach Snyder decided to go for it, he very quickly ran big people out there, and I don't think that Jim Tressel, Mark D'Antonio up in the booth trying to get the right personnel matched on defense. I don't think they got who they wanted on the field.
10:39 to play in the third period. 21-7 with a big 4th and 1 coming up. Sun Devil Stadium packed to capacity tonight for the Ohio State Buckeyes and Kansas State Wildcats. Tim Brand, Ed Cunningham, and Sam Ryan with you on a gorgeous night for football. Kansas State on 4th down and short. They need one. Trying to change the momentum of this game out of a power eye. Roberson tries to get the first. He's going to be close. There's a scrum right around the 40-yard line.
I think you got it.
Great push by that offensive line. Again behind Nick Leckie, and Mike Johnson back in the ball game now after his injury. Littleton in there as well.
I really like Nick Leckie. He is by far the best center I've seen all year. He plays with great balance. He's got great hands, good upper body strength, 305 pounds. And that time working in the middle against Darian Scott. What do you think?
Pretty good.
I think you think he got it?
I don't know.
Ooh, that spot looks a little down the bottom.
That's why I don't know.
Oh,
just got it.
Well, there's extra chain there. Did they have all the links let out? This is all set up by Nick Leckie. Watch this blocking on the nose guard, Scott. Just absolutely knocks him back, spins him, and that is the exact gap that L. Roberson, who kind of feigned a fake like he was going to get to the outside and followed the big fella right up inside. An NFL team is going to be very lucky to draft Nick Leckie. I'd like to see where he goes. I think he might be a first rounder.
First down and 10 for the Wildcats. Sproles, the tailback with Roberson. Here's Sproles. Breaks a tackle and is close to another first down. You talk about Nick Leckie. Well, we asked him about the running back there in Sproles.
He's a guy, like, as an offensive line, he's kind of like us, except he's a lot faster and he looks better in a bathing suit. So he puts his nose to the grindstone and he works. And as an offensive lineman, you can appreciate that. He's a guy that you really want to block for. You really want good things to happen to. And he's a guy who makes you look better, because I know I've missed my fair share of blocks, and he's made the guy miss, and it's saved my butt so many times.
Well, he picks up 8 there. 2nd down and 2. Looks better in a bathing suit.
It's illegal in 49 states for offensive linemen to be seen in bathing suits.
Roberson looks deep. He's got the first. Down inside the 15.
Well,
Thomas Hill with a catch.
They're rolling. Ohio State finally has themselves a ball game. For the first quarter and a half, this looked like it was going to get out of hand. And Bill Snyder's crew, again, you cannot talk enough about the leadership of this team, and it starts with number 3. And that last drive in the first half, I think, finally wiped out the memory of everything that's happened in the last 24 hours. And L. Roberson right now is playing like we had seen him play down the stretch.
Gain of 17. Out of the gun on first down. Roberson inside the 10. Roberson touchdown. From 14 yards out, L. Roberson scores and makes it a 1-touchdown game. And now the Cats are definitely back in it.
Watch the right guard Johnson. He came out of the game earlier. He's going to pull. Looked like he had a bad ankle. Looks like he's running pretty good here. Good job. Chips on Frazier. Gets up just a little bit on Hawk. Hawk had to slow down just enough. And, of course, the speed of Roberson. When you miss just half a step, you're half a step behind, or even a full step against Roberson.
Extra point by Joe Ream is good. And with 8:59 to play in the third, it's 21-14 Buckeyes, but the Cats are clawing back at them. And the band played on 21-14, 8:59 to play in the third. Tim Brandt, Ed Cunningham, Sam Ryan with you in Tempe, Arizona. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, 10 plays, 70 yards. Took 4 minutes and 54 seconds. El Roberson with a 14-yard run. This is Maurice Hall, takes it a yard deep. And Hall takes it all the way out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Stopped by Josh Buell, who's got a bucket full of tackles. Let's go downstairs. Here's Sam.
And Timmy, I found the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl Grand Marshal, Tom Lehman, who also happens to play the PGA Tour. How'd you get that title?
Well, that's a good question, but I'm sure I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
You were out there for the coin flip earlier. 77,000 screaming fans here. Different atmosphere than playing on the PGA Tour. Were you a little nervous out there?
Well, not really, but it's a lot like a Ryder Cup. It's the same kind of energy, the same kind of feel. It's a lot of fun.
Back to Tom in a bit, Tim.
Ross has absolutely nothing around that left side. The Wildcats got him in a hurry. Let's go back to Sam.
All right, Tom, PGA Tour opens up. The 2004 season opens up in Hawaii. When do you open your season?
The Hawaiian Open in 2 weeks. Yep, looking forward to it.
And then you come back here in Phoenix for the FBR Open. When is that?
That's the end of January, right here in the hometown here in Phoenix. Looking forward to that a lot. It's, well, I think, one of the best tournaments of the season.
Okay, now you're a Minnesota guy.
Yep.
You live in Scottsdale. Why are you on the Ohio State sideline?
Well, I'm a Big Ten guy. I went to Minnesota. By the way, go Gophers. Congratulations to the Gophers and Glenn Mason, but I got to cheer for the Big Ten.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tom. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Second down and 11. A huge momentum switch taking place here. Krenzel's trying to stop it. And he does. Jenkins loose. Got the first down and more. And that will quiet the crowd, at least momentarily. A pickup of 19.
Well, and that was just poor open field tackling that time by Cedric Williams. I said one of the coaching adjustments needs to be to keep the playbook open. This, nothing fancy, just a little hitch. But Cedric Williams got overextended on his feet. Otherwise, it would have been about 3rd and 4. But Michael Jenkins, a guy, you know where the ball's going to be. And a lot of times when a quarterback and a receiver get into sync, wherever the quarterback throws the ball to the inside, you cut to the inside because the defender's on the outside. You get to know all those different things when you play together this long.
Big hole right side on first down. They pick up a chunk of yardage here. Big block by Shane Olivier. Ross still doesn't look 100%. Looks like he's banged up, but he continues to run hard.
And not that hitch play was a huge play, but it got some of the momentum back for Ohio State. And Michael Jenkins, time and time again in his career, we saw it at Penn State with a touchdown catch for the 21-20 win. And again, it wasn't a huge play in the grand scheme of the game, but it was a huge play in this drive.
This is Brandon Joe. Spins his way close to the first down. See how they mark it. Wildcat saying his knee touched a yard short. But again, it'll be close. It'll bring up 3rd down and short. Krenzel's got a nice drive going here when it looked like the momentum had switched to the guys from Manhattan.
Cannot be asleep if you're Kansas State. If you are assigned to Hartsock or Hamby, one of those tight ends, you better be ready for somebody to slip out in the play action.
Brandon Schnitger in the ball game now.
No, Hamby jumped off sides.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Right tackle Olivier and Hamby, both of them flinched a little bit. I wonder if that was a hard 3 count by Krenzel. And we got a little jumpy. Knowing Krenzel and the veteran he is, he probably was trying to get a cheap one with a hard 3.
So it brings up 3rd and long.
Here comes the heat, straight man.
They show the blitz. Krenzel has to unload it. There's going to be a flag. Is it offsides?
Yeah, it looked like they're in the neutral zone.
So they'll get the 5 back.
I think they might have got Ted Sims, the linebacker, as he was creeping up. Well, now we're back to where we started from. We got 5 for flinching on Hamby. And
offside. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
You know, Tim, winners never cheat and cheaters never win. Here you go. Here's 45 right there. No, he wasn't in there.
I don't know.
No, if anybody.
It was Scott Edmonds, if anybody, 93.
Yeah, it might have been Scott Edmonds. Sims was clearly not in the neutral zone.
So you're right. We're back to 3rd and short.
All that for nothing.
1st down, Buckeyes.
Well, you know, we've been spending a lot of time talking about Nick Leckie. And Jim Tressel, I mentioned the sophomore class, the unbelievable recruiting class they had a few years ago, and Nick Mangold, the center, sophomore center, who went in when Alex Stepanovich, the normal starter, got hurt against San Diego State, had a really bad ankle sprain. Mangold came in and played so well that they decided that Stepanovich, who played some guard, some tackle early in his career, let's move him over. Now standing at right guard. He was first team All Big Ten, but Mangold, well, he's a finisher. He really gets after guys at the end of plays.
Krenzel again, 5-step drop, looking for the mismatch, going down deep, and bobbled as he goes out of bounds. Santonio Holmes had it on his fingertips, but couldn't bring it in. You know, Kansas State.
Randy Jordan comes up a little gimpy. He had a hamstring problem earlier in the season.
And I was going to say, Kansas State disguises its defenses so well. You know, they give you the same look every play. They blitz from different angles. It's critical for Krenzel to pick up any little nuance he can, and he's been pretty good at that tonight.
And they try to wait till the last minute. This time, straight man coverage on the outside. Jordan does a really good job of turning and running. Right there along with him. Holmes, and that was a nice throw by Krenzel. But Jordan, who's been battling a hamstring injury, he was walking like he might have tweaked it. Got to be careful. Might want to get Lewis Lavender in there.
Buckeyes looking for 10 on 2nd down. Again going back.
Got it.
To the left side. It's right. Jenkins inside the 10.
That's unbelievable communication from the booth down to Jim Tressel. There is no way that Jim Tressel, who calls these plays, knew that Randy Jordan pulled his hamstring or tweaked his hamstring on that last play. He's got Joe Daniels, his wide receivers coach, upstairs. He says, Coach, let's go right at number 9. This is an absolutely perfectly thrown ball, but even a better call. Great coaching teamwork by Ohio State.
A gain of 37 yards on this pass. And Michael Jenkins has just passed David Boston's record set back in the mid-90s.
What a great play call. What great teamwork by that coaching staff to get that
call. Ross to the 7. Ted Sims was riding him like a horse.
Now he's starting to make a little bit of an impact, isn't he?
Well, he started the game 53 yards shy of David Boston's record, and with that 37 yards, he just broke it.
Well, and if you're a San Diego Charger fan, you're sitting there saying, wait a minute, there's no way that that is David Boston. Well, that's David Boston before he decided to move into a weight room. What do you think he's put on, 60?
Oh.
I mean, he looks like a defensive lineman now. He still had some guns back then.
Terrific receiver. Ohio State spreads the field sideline to sideline. Krenzel looks in the corner to Jenkins. Touchdown. Oh, what a catch right over top of Lavender. Michael Jenkins.
The exact same throw and catch that Scott McMullen threw to Michael Jenkins to win the Penn State game. The play was actually called by Craig Krenzel, who was out of the game a little woozy, who got hit in the head. This is the exact same throw. It looks like a fade. You buzz it and throw it to the backside shoulder, and the cornerback Lavender, who actually has really nice coverage, expecting the fade. He has no idea the ball's on its way.
It's just so graceful looking. He makes it look easy, but
he snatches it too, doesn't he?
He's got that tough body and soft hands. Mike Nugent for the extra point. And it's good. And so with 4:53 to play in the 3rd, Ohio State extends its lead. It's 28-14.
strikes again, 4:53 left in the third, and it's always good to go back and look at the huge plays at Michael Jenkins. 4th and 1, time running out against Purdue, the touchdown to win it. 4th and 14, goes 17 against Miami in the Fiesta Bowl last year. 54-yard punt return against Iowa, no offensive touchdowns in that game, and then, of course, 21-20 win against Penn State. The exact same play you just saw. But, you know, as I was talking to Michael Jenkins, we were up there visiting, about that play against Purdue. It's just going to be forever in Ohio State lore. He said, you know what a lot of people don't know? Both Chris Gamble and myself ran the wrong routes. I was supposed to run a post. Gamble was supposed to run a shallow cross underneath to pick up the 4th and 1. Gamble ran the post. I ran the takeoff, and I don't think the coaches were too angry with him that they both ran the wrong route.
Well, the good news is Krenzel found them even though they ran the wrong route.
Well, he is 6'5". He's not going to get lost.
5 catches, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Michael Jenkins, and Craig Krenzel's having a terrific night.
He's talking to one of his professors to see if he passed his final genetics exam.
You know he did. How about that family? I mean, his brother Brian played for Duke. He's now a doctor. Here's Craig playing for Ohio State. He's majoring in molecular genetics, and he's going to be a doctor as well.
You know what? Somebody needs to tell the Krenzel family, nobody likes show-offs.
All right, first down, Kansas State. L. Roberson rolls right and throws incomplete. Boy, he put so much zip on the ball. Herrera, the freshman, couldn't hold on. He's got a cannon.
He really does. We were out at practice the other day, and it was pretty windy. Him and Dylan Meyer, the backup quarterback, and Jeff Schwinn, they were all throwing corner routes. We've got to put some air onto it, into the wind. And his ball was the only ball that was consistently getting there into the wind because it's such a tight spiral. He will have to learn to put a little touch on it, though, if he goes to the next level.
Talk about Dylan Meyer. He thought he might start today because of the problems with L. Roberson. You think he slept last night?
Oh, not a wink. Are you kidding me? He's got dark rings under his eyes.
Second down and 10. Roberson out of the shotgun. Drops the football. And throws it away. Will Smith was coming hard.
Well, this has kind of been Ohio State's MO since Jim Tressel became the head coach. Guys like Smith going up against the stand-up tight end. Boy, he is so relentless. You know the move I love that he uses is that little arm under. When and it's so hard as an offensive lineman when he drops that shoulder and gets underneath, and that is his go-to move. It is so hard. There's no surface to block. I would think maybe get Roberson out of the pocket, roll him to the right where the 2 receivers are, get him away from this heat for a second.
They need 10. And throws behind the intended receiver, James Terry. It's just not there tonight.
It's not. Well, and him and Terry have been off a lot. I think that maybe Roberson thought that Terry was going to sit down in that hole, and he continued to run his route. It's a broken play. I mean, the routes are over. There's Terry. No, he just threw it behind him.
He did. That's right. You know, he was wide open.
Threw it right behind him.
He sat down in the hook area, and there was nobody within 10 yards of him.
He threw it behind him.
Ohio State, a field position team, hopes to get good field position out of this. Jenkins fair catches back at the 27-yard line, so a 50-yard punt helps the Wildcats. Wright's having a terrific night. 4:27 to play, 28-14. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. Absolutely no panic in Kansas State as the celebration continues with the Buckeyes, but with 19.5 minutes left in the ball game, time now will certainly become a factor for a team that has been unable to move against Ohio State. And the offense for the Buckeyes comes back on, and the concern on the face of Bill Snyder, you can tell he knows the story. They need to make a stop. Brandon Joe, the ball carrier, picks up a good chunk of yardage.
And right at the beginning of this quarter, we were talking about the coaching points here for the second half. And keep the playbook open. And Jim Tressel's done that some. They haven't closed it completely. At 14 points, as explosive as Kansas State's offense was in the latter part of the season, you cannot feel comfortable with a 14-point lead, 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
Well, when you pick up chunks of yardage like that on first down,
you're going to be okay.
You can open the playbook.
Absolutely.
Krenzel on a quarterback draw. Close to a first down. Brian Hickman made the tackle. Well, the hit show is back. 8 celebrity players will compete in extreme challenges. All but one is getting played. Celebrity Mole. Yucatan 10, 9 Central, ABC, Wednesday. Celebrity Mole, the Yucatan.
I don't think the producers of that show had the guts to make Dennis Rodman the mole. What do you think?
I don't think so. Yucatan or Yucatan? Yucatan, isn't it? It's Tomato. Third down and 1. Straight ahead to go with a power game, and Brandon Joe's 245 pounds hits up there like a sledgehammer.
I don't think he got it. Brandon Joe, a guy who missed the first half of the season, tore his pec in preseason camp, and finally healthy. They had surgery to reattach it. And he was a guy, when we went up to visit and watch him at practice, at the end of practice, they had some live drills. Some of the second and third team guys running some live inside running drills, and Brandon Joe was the guy that was getting all the reps at tailback. Yeah, I guess my eyes are bad.
So they moved the chains?
It really looked like that one official coming in had his foot on the other side of the line.
Ohio State continues to melt the clock.
Oh, and they will allow this play clock every single time to get down to 6 or 7 seconds.
Down to 5. And they snap it at 3. Krenzel has backside pressure but feels it. And picks up almost 5 yards. Kevin Huntley was coming with the pressure, and it was as if Krenzel had eyes in the back of his head. He could feel it and escaped.
Well, and that's those defensive ends. You know, when we were talking to Bob Elliott, the defensive coordinator, they have 5 defensive ends that they feel comfortable putting on the field. Of course, Scholl and Houchin are the starters, but Huntley, a guy at 6'8", 265 pounds, you want him to be first off the bus.
He's wild.
Oh,
he
is a
loves
big
to
guy.
play, loves to hit.
Head coach comes off, then number 52.
Left side, Joe again has the first down. Brandon Joe getting a lot of work.
He's got to get the ball back.
That look tells a pretty good story, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to think all the things that are going through that young man's head. Hopefully he's been able to find some focus, but there's no doubt he's looked brilliant at times tonight and just not himself at others.
First down, Buckeyes. And on the waggle, Krenzel throws it away. You know, some of his best passes, and I'm not saying this facetiously, coaches certainly understand that some of your best passes are incompletions, and there certainly was a good play to throw it away.
Well, and the reason is, Tim, you talked about the defense and how they disguise what they're doing. Let's take a look at the Dodge defensive playbook. The pre-snap read that Craig sees, he sees the safety standing right here. He sees what he thinks is going to be man coverage. But as the safety backs out, now you get into a cover 3 situation. So the pre-snap is, I think I see man, now I see cover 3. So you've got to change your entire mindset right at the snap of the ball. Good job by the secondary of Kansas State disguising what looked like man.
And a good job by Krenzel to eat it and throw it away.
We have freebie.
Takes a hit, throws deep. Incomplete. There's a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they got Josh Buell. He was coming on a blitz.
Second time we've seen him penalized on a blitz.
When a guy starts creeping in to blitz, you want them to go laterally. And there's just no way he can stop.
Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
He's got to get his brakes checked.
Well, he's been everywhere, though. He's got 11 tackles tonight.
12.2 tackles per game, led the Big 12. It's no wonder his brakes are a little shot.
Well, he needs 1.2 more. Look at that. Is that impressive or what?
And you combine the last 2 years, this guy's over 300 tackles because at 135 last year. Of course, this is the 15th game for Kansas State, so that number just a little inflated. They're playing an NFL schedule now in college football.
But Buell's only 195. I mean, and his legs are as thin as can be. Brandon Joe again, big hold, big gainer. Hartsock got a terrific block, and Joe picks up 16.
Well, now you know why Jim Tressel, when we were up there visiting with him, was giving this man so much work in the backfield. Lydell Ross, the slasher, and now you've got a healthy Brandon Joe just right up the middle.
Look at the block by Hartsock, 88.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming inside. Boy, he did a nice job on Sims, didn't he?
Brandon
Stepanovich.
Joe, 5 carries, 29 yards, and Kansas State says,
"Yep,
no Moss. We've seen enough. Timeout."
Yeah, you got to get them. You just got to get everybody settled down. You know, this guy, I was talking earlier about him as a blocker. You want to talk about a guy who made some money in his senior year with NFL scouts looking at him. He's always been a very tough blocker. But he came into this year and really turned himself into a good receiving threat as well. That time we saw him, his blocking ability, but Krenzel finds him all the time in the middle of the field.
Hartsock's wife, Amy, is a math teacher. She'll count up all that extra money he's making. Aerial coverage tonight by Tostitos, and it is a beautiful night in the Valley.
Well, and you know, you talk about opening the playbook for Ohio State. And this is classic Jim Tressel. Go all the way back to Youngstown State, his 15 years as the head coach there. They use that little bubble tight end formation, and that time it was Hartsock. It's tackle, tight end backed up off of that. That's Brett Bielema, the co-defensive coordinator, trying to get his guys going. But it gives you so much. It gives you an inside trap guy who can run. You can slip those guys out and rub off on linebackers. It's a very, very difficult formation for defenses to get ready for. There's so many things they can do out of it.
Well, they're charging now. Melting the clock down to 46 seconds in the third period. Extending their lead to 2 touchdowns again. And trying to add to that. Again on the waggle. Krenzel looks deep. Throws to the end zone. Santonio Holmes, touchdown.
Well, the back judge waited forever to make the call. He wanted to make sure that Holmes dragged that foot and got it down. But I was a little hard on Krenzel earlier in the game. He had some throws that were way off the money. This one, you couldn't fly over in a helicopter and drop it in a better spot for Santonio to catch.
A 31-yard strike from Krenzel, and watch the feet.
Yep, and oh wow, he's getting ready for the NFL, dragging the toe. Nice job, Santonio.
And once again, they were working on Lewis Lavender, who took Randy Jordan's place. 4th touchdown pass for Krenzel tonight.
Just a freshman. They got a superstar in their hands at Ohio State.
Mike Nugent adds the extra point. And everybody's starting to feel the excitement now with 37 seconds left in the third.
Right by Lavender. And it's not horrible coverage. But you don't expect the freshman to drag the left toe. I mean, he's got the right one in. It's already a touchdown. You just don't expect that. And you might as well, with that ability, you got to figure this guy's going to play for a paycheck someday. You might as well start working on your craft.
Well, he is a terrific, explosive young talent. Started the season as a backup to Drew Carter. High school track guy. He's got that Florida speed out of Belglade, Florida. Terrific touchdown and body control. Touch the feet and put up 6.
You know, it's interesting talking to Jim Tressel. And now Kansas State on offense, they're going to have to be in hurry up the entire 4th quarter if they want a shot at this.
The Buckeyes don't want Sproles to return it, so they have been given that little pooch punt. This is Mack. A big return across the 50 and into Ohio State territory. So that time it backfired.
Santonio Holmes, you mentioned Drew Carter went down. It was in the 7th game against Indiana. Just an awful story. Drew Carter, guy, worked his way into the starting lineup as a senior and blew out his knee. And the coaches, Jim Bowman and Jim Tressel, told us we just don't think earlier in the season he would have been able to handle all the things we ask him to do now. And it's that redshirt freshman, about midway through that redshirt freshman year, it's like that light bulb goes on. It happens to I remember it happening to me, where the game slows down finally. It takes about a year and a half from high school to college before it doesn't look like guys are running 5,000 miles an hour.
Roberson's got to go now. Throws a strike. He's got to complete. They're back inside the 30.
Nope, and he's moving them too.
James Terry all the way down to the 27.
You cannot huddle for the rest of the game if you're Kansas State.
No, time's a factor. Pickup of 19. This has been a very balanced attack all year. Incredibly, averaging over 200 yards passing.
Yep.
And over 200 yards running the football.
One of only 7 teams in the country that can claim that.
Roberson looks into the end zone and overthrows Polite. Stops the clock. Good coverage by Will Allen. 10 seconds remain in the third period.
You know, you were telling that about Will Allen, one-year starter, an All-American, and without a doubt an NFL player. Had a chance to visit with him while we were up there, and it was really cool to hear how he took that time where he wasn't starting. I mean, he was not happy. He was behind a couple of good players, Doss and Nicky. And he said, I learned through watching them not only their good plays, but also their bad plays, where they made mistakes. He said, I learned more from watching the mistakes they made than from the good plays that they made.
Second down and 10. Throw to the flats. Got to complete again to Terry. Terry is just drilled, but he's close to a first down. Chris Gamble just laid him out.
Tackled by Gamble.
Might have broken his face mask.
Yeah, you're right. That's why the face mask is there, though, so you don't get your face broken. It's a nice hit. Well, James Terry is not exactly thick. At 6'5", 75 pounds?
No, but there's another player that'll play in the NFL, Gamble.
Yeah. Although, you know, there was some talk going around. I think he needs one more year. I think Chris Gamble, this is his first full year at cornerback. That is going to be his position in the NFL. And I think that Chris Gamble, I really think he needs to come back and play another year of college ball.
You look at the talent that is NFL caliber on this Ohio State team. I mean, Will Smith is a top 10 guy.
Oh, without a doubt.
Although I don't know, who would you take, Will Smith or Dave Ball of UCLA, nation sack leader?
That's a tough one. We saw Dave Ball against Colorado, and he took the game over. I saw the series.
I saw Dave Ball and his brother at my house eat like 23 chicken breasts in 10 minutes.
Tim, nobody likes a name dropper.
End of the third. ABC Sports presentation of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Really growing short now, time-wise. They've got 15 minutes left.
Yeah,
and they've got to score in a hurry. They get the first down. That'll stop the clock.
Now go. Now go.
14:58 to play. Now they've got to get up to the line of scrimmage, and everything now has to be hurried.
Every second counts. Well, now, wait a minute. No, don't huddle, guys. Do not huddle. You don't have time. Should have had 2 plays called from the same formation.
Clock is moving. First down, Kansas State. Taking way too much time. The option. Sproles gets a block and almost got through. Great backside pursuit by Robert Reynolds, the linebacker. And A.J. Hawk was there as well.
That was a good inside-out route taken by Reynolds this time. As a linebacker, you have a choice right here. Do I go over the top or do I come underneath the block on the edge? And this time Reynolds chooses to go underneath and has the speed to make it happen. You know, we were talking about NFL guys. You got to figure this guy's going to get a taste of the NFL next year.
Brings up second down and long. Play clock down to 10. They're using chunks of it.
Yeah, you can't run it anymore. You got to line up in shotgun and throw the ball.
Looking to the corner and skips it out to James Terry. Well, you can just tell El Roberson is frustrated. I mean, it's just his body language is telling you how frustrated he is. Roberson 9 of 30, 116 yards and an interception. Not an El Roberson night.
Well, he had a couple of things on his mind the last 24 hours.
Play clock again, down to 8. Roberson runs. He's got the first down, and inside the 5 he goes to the 3-yard line. El Roberson.
And that's, you know, Mark D'Antonio, the defensive coordinator, said that was so hard when you're looking at the film of El Roberson. Perfect coverage by Ohio State. They only rushed 4, dropped 7, so there's nobody open, and the pocket's collapsing on him, and he runs down and picks up the first down.
High school player of the year in Houston, Texas 5A offensive player of the year. And despite missing a couple games, he's accounted for more than half of the touchdowns. Here they go. This is Saba, and Saba scores. From 3 yards out, Io Saba with a touchdown, and it's 35-20.
And this was good blocking on the edge by Kansas State, because you just don't expect a 245-pound fullback to have the speed to get outside. And the only reason he was able to was because of the lead blocks out in front.
I'll guarantee you, partner, he's more than 245.
260, you think?
He hadn't missed many meals lately. Extra point is good.
There's 2 words that are not part of his vocabulary. I'm full.
No, actually, he's a very muscular guy. Look at him.
Yeah, just having a little fun. He's got some guns, doesn't he?
13:25 to play. 35-21. Ohio State leads in a physical ball game. A partner up here has been calling for an onside kick this entire commercial break.
Well, I just think at some point in the 4th quarter you're going to have to do it. Right now, Ohio State doesn't have anybody up. And I think this would be a good chance to do a little bunt kick, a surprise onside kick. You think they have to do one at some point.
Kick this one away, and maybe they should have kicked it out of bounds and bring it all the way out to the 35-yard line. Look at that frustration.
Yeah, and for a coach who...
Well, free kick out of bounds. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Not only does Bill Snyder not leave a stone unturned, he keeps turning them over and over and over again, getting ready for a game. That drives him crazy.
Talking about his work and his preparation. I want to send a shout out to Joanne, who's back in Manhattan, has been with him for 15 years, working in that office, and
it is his security blanket.
She's a great screener, I'll tell you that.
Yes, she is.
You can't get to him.
Yeah. All head coaches need a security blanket, and his is Joanne, covered from that leg. Yep. This Kansas State program should be called the Snyder football program.
First down, Buckeyes. Krenzel to throw. Directs some traffic, runs, and picks up 3.5.
Well, now that molecular genetics major needs to know to hook slide and stay in bounds.
The NFL playoffs kick off with a wild card Saturday on ABC. First, Baltimore has won 5 straight against Tennessee, but MVP candidate Steve McNair has the Titans primed for a playoff run. That should be a good one in Baltimore. Then in prime time, Coach Bill Parcells leads the Cowboys against Stephen Davis and the NFC South champion Panthers. NFL Wild Card Saturday coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, following the Sixers-Spurs game tomorrow right here on ABC. Second down, Joe. Boy, what a performance he's had here in the second half. Picks up the first down, moves the ball all the way across midfield, a pickup of 13, and into Wildcat territory.
He'll run some folks over, won't he? Good changeup. And when you're trying to eat the clock, it's always nice to have a big bruiser in there. Boy, does he get his pads down. Tim, you played linebacker. Can you imagine trying to A 245-pound ball of muscle with his shoulder pads about a foot off the ground.
Oh, my.
It's a little difficult to get leverage on that.
How about that offensive line opening up some holes over the smaller defensive line of Kansas State? First down and 10. Off the left side they go and pick up 4.5. Brandon Joe again, stopped by Josh Buell. Now your running back's 245. Your linebacker who makes the tackles 195.
That's why he did it from behind and swept his legs. He doesn't want to go nose to nose with this fella. But now Bill Snyder on defense, I think it's time to start taking a few chances. You might have to bring some blitzes on running downs, just try to get any kind of momentum for your defense. You have to get some negative yardage plays. Maybe take your defensive ends, slant them inside, knowing you're going to lose contain. You've got to start taking a couple of risks on defense.
Krenzel tonight, huge game, 4 touchdown passes. This is Ross.
Ross carries.
Gets out of bounds. Not what he wanted to do. Knocked out, stops the clock with 11:59 to play. There is a flag.
Yeah, Ryan Hamby and Thomas Houchin got tangled up. I'm wondering if they're going to call the holding on Hamby.
And they did.
But these, you know, these Ohio State, when they get over to the line towards the out of bounds marker, they've got to stop going out of bounds. Craig Krenzel did it. That time Lydell Ross did it.
Holding on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay the down.
Used to drive me crazy. Here's Hamby right in the middle of the screen. Right there when he goes to finish this block on Houchin. Oh, no, that wasn't who they called it on. That's where they threw the flag. Hamby was just getting in the way, but Ross has got to stay in bounds.
So it brings up 2nd down and long for Krenzel. And they spread the field sideline to sideline. He's not going anywhere. Thomas Houchin got there first. Boy, his position has to be the most fun to play on that defense. He's given so much freedom on that outside.
And the whole key to that is the inside defensive tackles. Montgomery and Barry, they really have to anchor in the middle and keep their rush lanes, because these defensive ends, like you said, they are totally cut loose. Right now, in the middle is Derek Marceau, who's in there for Montgomery to keep him fresh. But this guy, Barry, a little short, squatty guy, he's got to hold up the middle so those defensive ends can fly around. They finally got a little bit of a break with that holding call.
3rd down and 17. Out of the gun. Krenzel close to the line of scrimmage, incomplete. Childress couldn't hold on. He may have crossed the line of scrimmage.
Extracurriculars. Alex Stepanovich is getting into it with Marceau, and a flag came down. I think Stepanovich thinks that Krenzel may have gotten hit late. He who hits back gets called for the penalty. It's one of those cliches that's true 100% of the time. Well, I think there might have been an argument for a late hit on Josh Buell.
You mean Josh Buell on Krenzel?
Excuse me. Well, I mean the call on Josh Buell for making
After
the
the play
late
was over, a dead ball, personal foul on offense. 4th down.
So take another look at it. Here's Krenzel.
I think this is what Stepanovich was upset with. And, oh, that is, you got to throw that flag. Led with his head, late and led with his head. Which flag do you want to throw?
How about Stepanovich, though, stepping up and eating the 15-yard penalty to protect his quarterback?
Yeah, but I think Jim Tressel would rather he had words with Buell and Marceau instead of threw a punch or an elbow or something. It was a late hit. It should have been called. But you don't expect your seniors to make mental errors. And in a game that all of a sudden has become kind of interesting because Ohio State decided to go in reverse.
Sanders gets off a booming kick. This punt all the way back at the 23. Sproles. Not much room to the 29. That's it. Dante Whitner made the tackle. 48-yard punt, 6-yard return. Kansas State needs 2 touchdowns, and they've got 10:48 to get them. Celebrating the holidays, Mill Street was completely closed off the other night for a block party. It's been spectacular here in the Valley during the holiday season. Roberson needs to get something going. Here he has a completion. This is Marrero. Marrero's got a first down out to the 40. His first catch.
Well, let's go back on the last play, and we can't see the end result of what Alex Stepanovich does, but there's no question that Craig Krenzel, he's going to protect his roommate there, going to knock Buell down. And you don't blame him for sticking up for his buddy. It should have been a penalty. But boy, if you're Ohio State, you kind of wish he'd have pulled off and maybe just had words with Buell.
Roberson's checking off, changing the play on first down. Throws, got to complete, another first down. Look out, Terry's loose, or Dennis, correction. And it's a first down to the 43. 17-yard pickup. Look out, here come the Wildcats.
Davin Dennis on the top of the screen working against Dustin Fox. Fox turns his back. And that's the open field tackling that Mark D'Antonio preaches so much, because Dustin Fox got spun around. When he came back in, he was off balance.
Pretty good hands to pick off a fastball. Oh, yes. I mean, that ball comes in a hurry.
There's a vapor trail behind it.
Roberson can feel the urgency now, and throws incomplete to his tight end. Thomas Hill.
Nice play by Bobby Carpenter.
Got his hand in there at the last second, didn't he?
Carpenter, one of those sophomores that we've been talking about all night. Yes, Craig Krenzel's going to graduate. Here's Bobby right here. Watch as he trails the tight end coming across. He's working one-on-one on Thomas Hill. Well, that's... Can't play it any better.
Brings up second down and 10. Roberson throws, has it complete, move the chains, another first down. Clock stops. It's Dennis again. Dennis now has 4 catches. The clock stops at 9:41.
And if Roberson doesn't have a cannon, Dante Whitner knocks this ball down. Watch number 9 flash. He read it perfectly. Man, that ball gets there in a hurry, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm telling you, he's got a cannon hanging from that shoulder. He needs to heat up here. Steps up, he's got room to run. Instead, he throws and gets a completion out of it. All the way down to the 12. Yep. It's Dennis again.
And he was looking for James Terry. This ball was tipped at the linebacker level.
A.J. Hawk got it. Bit of luck there.
What an athletic play by A.J. Hawk. He knows L. Roberson can pull this thing down and run. Watch when he gets himself on balance and faces up the quarterback, going for Terry underneath. But because you had a shallow cross and a deep cross, Kansas State gets a little bit lucky.
Another first down. 9 minutes to play. And nowhere for Roberson to run. Here's Robert Reynolds, the linebacker, and gets help from Carpenter.
This looked like a setup run by L. Roberson. He looked like he went for the pump fake, and then was he just immediately going to pull it down on a quarterback draw.
Yeah, they've got to go. This clock just continues to move.
My point was going to be, I know you want to keep this part of your offense because it makes the defense stay honest, but you're just killing the clock by running the ball.
Saw Snyder give a glance to the clock.
And there's where the touch comes in, Tim. Oh, we got a flag down in the pocket. But, you know, when a guy's running a slant, just lead him and lay it in there, boy. You fire that ball, and if it's off mark, the receiver just does not have a chance.
Wildcats are moving back. Is this holding?
After the play was over, have a dead ball, personal foul, offense. It's a 15-yard.
Wow. Oh, my. 15 yards.
You know who just breathed a sigh of relief? It's Alex Stepanovich.
Wow.
Oh, that really hurts. Well, and at this point right now, 7 points is the only outcome you can have if you're Kansas State. Cut this in half. Don't get greedy. Don't think about the touchdown. Don't think about the first down. Think of a 7 or 8 yard route that they could run and try to get down towards 4th and 10.
Third down, they need 27. Play clock at 4. L. Roberson throws and overthrows. No, did he get it? Out of the back of the end zone goes Morera, but was that close? I was looking at the receiver at the goal line and not the back of the end zone.
Nice throw by L. Roberson, but the pocket collapsed. He didn't have a choice but to come out, but these routes were called down towards the end zone. It looked like Morera caught it. Just couldn't tell from way up here whether he got that foot down or not.
Well, they were right on the play.
Yeah.
He had to be out.
It looks like Morera caught this ball. Yep, just barely missed it. I don't think field goal is going to help you too much here.
45-yard attempt by Joe Ream. He's 7 of 8 from this distance this year. Looked like he may have been tipped. Plenty of distance. Hits the upright and comes back. It's been that kind of night.
Yes, it has.
The clock moves under 8 minutes. And for the Wildcats, it's been just that close all night.
This is a 45-yard field goal attempt. A high snap caused. Watch the left foot of Ream as he hesitates for half a second because of the high snap.
Joe carries not much there.
But Mike Wilson, the snapper, a little high, and Ream saw that. He took that little hesitation step and just threw him off enough for him to miss it.
7:40 to play. The clock certainly has been a factor and continues to be for Kansas State. For Ohio State, it's been a terrific night, playing very good football offensively and defensively, and now trying to shorten the game and melt the clock.
And the reason, I thought they should have tried to cut the field, the 3rd and 27, take 15, 17 yards off. A field goal, it's still a 2-score game at that point.
Second down, Krenzel keeps it. Loses yardage. Well, Bachelor Bob broke her heart, but Meredith is back, and she has 25 guys to choose from. Bachelorette season premiere Wednesday, January 14th at 9, 8 Central, right here on ABC.
But it was the personal foul against Kansas State that put him in that hole at 3rd and 27. And then you go to 4th and 27 and try a field goal that I just don't know what it would have done for you at that time in the game.
3rd down and 11. Nothing. Brandon Joe had nowhere to run. He loses yardage again. It'll bring up 4th down and about 12.
Well, the other thing with Kansas State coming away with no points on that drive, that allows Ohio State to play much more conservatively now on offense. Down 14, clock running at 6 minutes. And the way that Jim Tressel's defense plays, I don't know that I'd use the word comfortable right now, but he's got to feel a lot better after they came away with no points.
Well, I know the Wildcats would love a big return here from Darren Sproles.
They've been pooching it on the kickoffs to keep it away from him. B.J. Sander, the Ray Guy Award winner. I would try to get this out of bounds at about the 30-yard line and be happy with it.
Tough punt to get to. He takes it on a run and fumbles it. Picks it up, gets a block, and that's it. They almost out punted his coverage.
Kicked it flat.
43-yard punt, -4 on the return. (35-21). Kansas State needs 2 scores, and they need them in a hurry. Roberson just 13 of 37. Throws to the flats. Sproles can't hold on to it.
Take a look at our FedEx Air stats. As you would expect, both of these teams not exactly known for airing it out. Ohio State, though, Craig Krenzel with 189 yards passing. Then we'll take a look at the FedEx ground stats. And, of course, Kansas State with only 83 yards. This for a team that averaged 292 rushing yards during their 7-game winning streak at the end of the season.
Terrific defensive performance by the Buckeyes tonight. That and the fact that El Roberson just hasn't been in sync. Second down, they need 10. Has it complete. But James Terry's got the first down, gets out of bounds. 5:16 left in the game.
What a great run after the catch. Sproles again getting there in a hurry, and James Terry did a wonderful job faking to the inside, then getting to the outside on Gamble. That's a nice run. Use the stiff arm and then get out of bounds so the clock stops.
Roberson throws it out of bounds. Kansas State trying to become the first team in Wildcat history to win 12 games in a season. Wow.
Well, they've had 15 chances to do it. They tie BYU for the most games ever.
Not only that, the Wildcats have played in 6 night games this year.
5-0 in those night games.
Yep. Second down and 10 for Roberson. He's got a man, and he's got a first down.
What a catch.
It's Marrero again, the true freshman. He's down close to the 35-yard line, so they hurry back to the line of scrimmage.
Right now, Kansas State has a little bit of an advantage because Ohio State not able to run any personnel onto the field. They can't match personnel. Plus, Simon Frazier, Darian Scott, all the guys that have been left up in there. Will Smith now moving around. Those guys are dog tired.
Roberson with time, looks to the back of the end zone. He's got a man and overthrows him. Herrera had come free, and the safety was having trouble getting over there, and he just overthrew him.
Herrera ran a deep stop and go route, and the timing was just off a little bit.
I think Nate Sally lost him. Right there, he's got to hit him.
Will Allen's playing underneath, and Sally's coming over the top. The throw was a little late and a little long.
So it brings up second down with 4:53 left.
Ohio State bringing in Mike Kudla now at defensive end. They've got to get some fresh bodies on this defensive line to get some kind of heat on Roberson.
Roberson just again overthrows it to Marrero. He was wide open in the flats. All he's got to do is flick it.
Yeah, he's just been off all night. You know, when we were talking, when we went up and visited with Kansas State, Nell Roberson broke his hand, missed Massachusetts and Marshall. Really took the Marshall loss hard, and he came back against Oklahoma State and Texas. He said he really pushed and he was forcing too many things, and you just get that feeling tonight. You can't blame him with everything he's been through in the last 24 hours, but he's just forced it.
Boy, Herrera's just been wide open. Ohio State got a timeout. Is there enough time for Kansas State?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's going to have to be some kind of onside kick in the plan. That's why I was thinking at the beginning of the fourth quarter might have been a chance to surprise them with one.
Give a lot of credit to Jim Tressel and the Buckeyes tonight. They have been on top of their game. Will be the aerial coverage tonight. Spectacular views from high above the Buttes, just outside Sun Devil Stadium here in Tempe, on what has been a spectacular night. Not necessarily for Kansas State, although they're still hanging in there and clawing away with 4:46 to play. They need something to happen here big on 3rd and long. Over the middle and again thrown behind James Terry.
Well, and Roberson expecting Terry to stop, but I mean, you know, you cannot do it all. And if he leads this, Reynolds, the linebackers right there, may have picked it anyway. So
well, you got the feeling he's down to one play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still 4:41 left, but they need a miracle.
Yeah, this is probably game, set, and match right here.
They need 10. Roberson throws. He's got the first. And down to the 13. Davin Dennis with the catch.
Don't celebrate the first down. Get up and go. Much better throw that time.
Stops the clock at 4:34 while they reset the chains. He gets him up to the line of scrimmage. Pickup of 24.
Don't want to waste too much time with throws in front of the sticks or in front of the end zone.
Backside pressure. He's got to complete at the 1.
Go.
Brian Casey close to the goal line. His first catch of the night.
I know we're nitpicking at the clock, but right now here comes the heavy personnel. I'm not so sure you want to run it with a guy like Roberson. Get him out on the edge. Give him a run pass option. He could still run it in. I know you're down on the 1-yard line and they're huddling. They're down 2 scores. I just think Kansas State's taking too much time.
Still plenty of time though. Just over 4 minutes.
See, that's the problem though.
And Saba has nowhere to go. Loses yardage.
Yeah, I mean, against a defense like Ohio State that is so good at getting penetration, so athletic up front, and their linebackers.
Well, you had Ohio State on its heels. Now you're giving them time to regroup.
I mean, you expect to get it in, but what if you don't, like you don't here? Not only that, but you lose yardage.
I'd take Sproles or Roberson and get them right to the corner.
You got to move. You got to get out of the. No, it's all throw from here on. Boy, that's 45 seconds off the clock from when they got down to the 1-yard line.
2nd and goal. Sproles doesn't make it.
Bill Snyder's a wonderful head coach, and he's been calling plays for a long time. But I just think down on that 1-yard line, I think you needed to spread it out, let Roberson move in the pocket, get him out of the pocket or something like that. And now Bill Snyder looks like he's going to take a timeout.
With just over 3 minutes remaining.
They got down on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal from the 1.
With 4:06 left.
Yeah, so 1 minute and 3 seconds, and here you sit. 3rd down and goal from the 2. Whereas if you move the pocket and he throws it away, or finds a crease and gets it in, let's say he doesn't score, you're probably sitting at about 3:45 left on the clock.
Well, Sunday night, catch the dramatic conclusion to the most talked about bowl championship series in history. Heisman Trophy winner Jason White leads #1 Oklahoma against #2 LSU for the BCS National Championship. Don't miss the Nokia Sugar Bowl Sunday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC Sports Championship Television. And the key word there is the BCS National Championship.
Yes.
I think the Associated Press has already decided theirs. So we'll have a split national champion this year.
Well, of course, we're sitting here talking about the clock. It becomes a if they get it in and then recover the onside. But of course, you never ever assume. What do you think percentages of onside kicks are? About 15, 10% that you recover,
maybe.
if you're lucky. You're assuming they'll have to go back on defense again.
3rd down and goal. Roberson trying to get to the corner. He didn't get it.
Nope.
His knee hit at the 1, and there's a flag.
I think they got a face mask.
He may be shaken up.
Oh, his head got completely spun around. Reynolds coming inside out. Oh, I'm looking at another monitor, and this is not pretty. I hope he's okay.
So that'll put the nose of the ball just about on the goal line.
Well, the good news is now you're not looking at 4th down.
Personal foul. Yes. On the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Half the distance to the goal is about an inch.
Yeah. And Robert Reynolds coming from his linebacker spot, just trying to grab at anything he could. Got a whole handful of face mask and almost ripped L. Roberson's head off.
All right, so it's now first down from just outside the goal line. Quarterback sneak.
Yeah, it looked like he got it.
Touchdown. Kansas State has a touchdown. It's now a one-touchdown game.
And with one timeout left, make a very important PAT, and then it is onside kick time. If you had 3 timeouts left, Tim, you could probably kick it off.
If you had 3 timeouts left, no question you would kick it off and try to pin him deep.
But now with one timeout, I think you got to do a hopper, a short hopper.
Joe Ream for the extra point attempt. Good snap, good hold. And the extra point is good. He splits the sticks. And it's a 7-point game.
Well, you saw Jim Tressel clapping.
He may have broken his nose.
Well, this was pretty bad. You're trying to take the top of the ball off. It hits once. 10, 15 feet in the air and see if you can't get under it.
It's got to go 10 yards. There's your bounce. Kansas State's got it. Ball's still loose. There's a flag down.
I think Kansas State may have touched it before it, or is that offsides on Kansas State?
Well, it's thrown down by the offside marker, down by the original kickoff scrimmage line. Still a scrum down there fighting for the football. Looked like Nate Sally recovered it.
From where that flag is, it looks like it's an offsides if
the kicking team.
More importantly, who recovered it? If Ohio State got it, just decline it.
We have encroachment on the kicking team. That's a 5-yard penalty.
So the re-kick. And now the plot thickens.
There we go. Take a look.
Took a perfect bounce
yes,
right there.
Yes, it did. I thought that somebody from Kansas State was going to touch it.
Well, they had it.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they came down with it. Looked like Rashad Washington. Boy, what a nice play by Washington.
Washington
oh, no, it still bounced around. No, it was still.
No, but he got it and couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like he had a hold of it. Jenkins knocked it out of his hand.
So they'll do it again. Oh, nice play by short hopped it.
And that's Bobby Carpenter. You don't expect a linebacker on your hands team. You think of tight ends, wide receivers up there. Bobby Carpenter. If that ball's not going to go 10 yards, go up and make a play on it because Kansas State cannot do anything about it.
Watch him short hop it before he can take that big, dangerous hop.
Really nice play. Close the distance between the football and yourself. Because you're right, if it takes one more bounce, it's going to hit you in the face mask going anywhere. Nice play. Yep, nice play by Carpenter.
So 2:47 to play in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and Ohio State in control. 25 or 35-28.
Don't think they can quite run out the clock without a first down.
Krenzel gives it to Joe. He doesn't gain any yardage.
You want to save that last time out if you're Kansas State. If you get into a third down situation, that's when you will call it.
They've got that one left. Down to 2:25. Clock continues to move.
And at 2:37, they're not going to be able to completely run it out without a first down. You don't want to burn that timeout until the third down.
Krenzel again out of a tight formation.
Now he had a flinch up top. They're going to get Ryan Hamby.
So that stops the clock right at 2 minutes.
Yeah. They're going to give him 5 for flinching.
And they'll move him back.
Mr. Hamby's got to learn the snap count. That's second time tonight he's gone a little early.
He's a fifth-year senior, too, that's graduated already.
False start. Offense. 5 yards. Still second.
Hamby's actually a sophomore. I was thinking of Hartsock.
Hartsock's the one who's going to be playing for money next year. Hamby's got to wait a few years.
Well, Krenzel set an Ohio State record tonight for most touchdown passes in a bowl game, 4 of them. He got the Buckeyes out of the blocks quickly after throwing an early pick in the first quarter.
He struggled a little bit early. He underthrew a couple of balls for Michael Jenkins that looked like sure touchdowns, but he got it back on track.
Second down and 15. Joe. Nothing.
Now the timeout by Kansas State. Take a look at the 4 touchdown passes from Mr. Krenzel. Great throw to Santonio Holmes in the back of the end zone with Cedric Williams trailing. Michael Jenkins taking advantage of the play fake. Jenkins again. And then this one, I mean, that's just unbelievable control by Santonio Holmes, dragging, got his right foot down and dragged the left toe.
And there are his numbers: 11 of 24, 189 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the 2 interceptions. The first one, he had Jenkins wide open and just underthrew him, and you could see the disgust on his whole face. Here's the situation: 1:26 left in the ball game. It'll be 3rd down and 15. So Kansas State makes a stop, and then we'll sit back and see what Ohio State decides to do. As far as a field goal with one of the best in the country, Mike Nugent followed up his All-American season with another solid year.
Well, and if you are thinking field goal, and I think you're at the part of the field 42 yards, you know, you're looking at
it's a tough call.
Yeah,
you don't want to give
call. You
Kansas State good field position.
You don't want to throw. I don't think you want to throw it here because you just don't burn enough clock. But if you're going to go for a field goal, you've got to pick up probably, what, 8 or 10 yards before you feel comfortable with sending Mike Nugent out.
Oh, easily.
You know, I take that back. I wouldn't be surprised with a little play action pass. Something safe, and maybe Krenzel give him a run pass option.
3rd down, 15. Tight formation. They run it. This is Ross. Ross to the 35, but goes out of bounds.
Oh, what a mistake.
With 1:20 left.
Oh, that's a huge mistake.
So the Wildcats get a break.
And Ross is talking to the coaches. A humongous mistake by Lydell Ross. The idea behind that play was, let's melt this clock before we go into 4th down. And Lydell Ross has now done it twice, running out of bounds when he should have stayed in. Craig Krenzel did it earlier, and now giving Kansas State some life. This clock would be down to about 52 seconds had he not gone out of bounds.
B.J. Sander comes out for the punt. If you're Kansas State, you got to be alert for the fake.
Now the flags are down
everywhere.
I think they might have had delay of game.
What a great punt, too, that went out of bounds at 2.
Offense.
B.J. Sander, he just looks and hangs his head. He knows he got a perfect punt off that went out on the 2, and he'll have to try it again.
You know what? If I'm Bill Snyder, I'd decline this penalty. I mean, this penalty.
Delay of game. Offense. Please reset. 1 minute, 20 seconds. Thank you.
I would decline this because you don't want B.J. Sander to have more room to try to knock it down inside the 5.
But he knocked it out at the 2. Why would you take it at the 2?
Oh, excuse me. Good point.
Thanks.
Good correction. Well, no, it's a dead ball foul, Tim. They wouldn't have the result of the play.
Sander punts again. This is a high tail wagger, and again, he's trying to pooch it inside the 20. Sproles takes it at the 10 and is thrown down at the 9. A 30-yard punt that was just perfectly executed by B.J. Sander, and Will Allen made the tackle.
Well, instead of the 2, they got it at the 10, so there was a little bit of a benefit for Kansas State. I guess my idea of declining was dumber than dumb.
So with 1:12 left, They've got to go 90 yards to tie the game or win it with a 2-point conversion.
With the clock stopping in college football on first downs, you can work the middle of the field, but if you do it, they better be beyond the sticks.
Well, they've got to do it with no timeouts. None left. Here we go. Roberson out of the gun. He was across the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and there comes the flag.
And there's the flag.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could have run that thing and gotten good yardage and had room to get out of bounds.
On the play, we have an illegal pass. It's a 5-yard penalty and lost the down.
You know, it just has not been L. Roberson that we've seen all year.
No, and even that throw was behind.
But the decision, I mean, you would have thought.
Right. I mean, he's a guy who does it with his legs.
He had wide open spaces and room to get out of bounds at the end of the run. .106 to play. And 95 yards in front of him now. Roberson out of the end zone. Throws across the middle. He's got it complete to the 27. Davin Dennis with another catch. Clock stops with 60 seconds left.
Keep them going. Even though the clock stops, with the moving of the chains.
They haven't set the chains yet, and the clock moved.
Yeah, that was
7 seconds.
Well, that
off.
took 7 seconds away from Kansas State.
Roberson throws again and has it across midfield. Clock stops with 44 seconds left. Morera with another catch.
Bill Snyder is over there. They lost 7 seconds, Tim. That is a huge error by this ACC crew. He's got to get himself refocused. Remember, Bill Snyder's the guy who calls these plays.
Clock's moving again.
Wow. Bill
Snyder's
Snyder,
furious.
he should be. This is ridiculous.
Roberson with pressure. Incomplete, hit from behind by Simon Frazier.
I'm going to guess that Kansas State has been cheated out of at least 10 seconds. 7 seconds on the play before and about 3 or 4 seconds on that play.
He's down to 28 seconds. Roberson shaken up again. Well, I don't blame that fellow. Ohio State trying to hold on here. And Kansas State trying to pull one out of the fire.
Well, and Bill Snyder in a tough position because as the head coach, he wants to be arguing for more time on the clock, but he's got a quarterback who may have broken his nose on the series before. Drugged down from behind that time by Simon Frazier. Has to be pretty weary. Trying to game plan what they want to do in the hurry up. You let a senior quarterback call most of the plays, but now Bill bringing Ron Cherry over to talk about this clock situation.
He's pointing at the chains. And then
right, absolutely. They're going to go back and look at this film and add up the seconds and send a complaint to these officials about how much time they were cheated out of. Bill Snyder is absolutely correct in this argument.
.28 seconds left.
How big are those 10 or 11 seconds, Tim?
Crowd's on its feet. Underneath they go. Sproles can't get anywhere. Clock continues to move.
In the middle of the field, you can't be behind the sticks. You're already behind the clock. Here you are at 15 seconds.
14, 13. They've got to go. And he downs it. So with 9 seconds left, he'll have 1 shot left.
Well, I think you actually have 2. With 9 seconds, I think you can get by the sticks. Something around the sidelines. You think they'll go for the heave-ho?
I would. And look for a Doug Flutie-like reaction.
Yeah. I always like to be a little closer on the heave-ho, and you could get this first down. if you do that, then you have just the one play, so you're going to heave-ho either way. So they're in the formation. It looks like they'll roll to the left and give it to heave-ho to the trips receivers, and Ohio State wisely calling a timeout to reset their defense. That formation leads you to believe that Bill Snyder, in fact, did call the last toss.
Because the problem is, if you just go for the first, you've got too many problems that could happen. Not get the first, you get down short of the first, and time expires.
The only concern with your receivers having to run 50 yards, it's going to take them a little over 5 seconds to get down into the end zone. Well, in that 5 seconds against this defense, you may get pressure before you get it off. That's why if you could get it down inside to about the 35-yard line in the first down, now it's a shorter run for those receivers. Pressure is not as big of a part of the play.
Well, we just set a record. This is the longest Fiesta Bowl ever played, beating last year's game, which went into overtime.
I think that's been our crew all year. We've done some very long games.
Here we go. Final 9 seconds of the 2004 Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Jim Tressel trying to hold on again for the second year in a row on this field. Roberson throws it high. And it's over. Ohio State wins it. The Buckeyes go to 11-2 on the year as a BCS at-large team, and winning here in Tempe for the second straight year. The defending national champions will relinquish that title, but they finish on a successful note and end up 11-2.
One of the things that Ohio State talked about was they did not want to come back to the field that they made history on and ruin that memory. They can be very proud of the effort they brought. Boy, did they play so well on defense tonight against a very explosive L. Roberson and Darren Sproles.
You have to wonder the mindset of L. Roberson coming in here with the complaint filed early yesterday morning and the allegation of a sexual assault.
Well, we all know early in the game Ohio State's defense was absolutely dominant for about the first quarter and a half. So that had something to do with it. But I don't think there's any question, Tim, that what transpired in the last just over a day had a major